Hello, Recordiacs. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, involves a daunting task accompanying three unqualified morons as they safely navigate through a blockbuster franchise, starring the death-defying Scientologist Tom Cruise in preparation for the seventh film. Be careful. Along the way, you may encounter slow motion, plot twists, shaky cams, slow motion, and Thandie Newton. As always, should you or any of your IM force be caught or killed, the Secretary will disavow any knowledge of your action. This podcast will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Good luck, Recordiacs.
Three unqualified morons with microphones. This is the previously recorded podcast.
Welcome back to Previously Recorded. I am your host, RP. As always, and this episode of Previously Recorded is brought to you by our Redbubble and T-Public store. If you need a t-shirt, stickers, hats, we all got it. So we're here to talk about the 3 Mission Impossible movies. They're good. Anything else to add?
Nah, that's it.
I wouldn't say good. They were movies.
Can we talk about everything that just happened? One,
that's for our Patreon.
Yeah, so RP doesn't tell us what he's gonna do for the intros, and that was
He told us you were just late.
Oh, okay.
You were late.
I wasn't late. I actually dropped Nick off and then went back home. So I was on time, and then I just changed my plans real quick. But
you like it?
Yeah, that was a good one. But also, you said stickers. There are stickers on the T-Public store.
I thought he said Snickers.
It did tell me he said Snickers, and I was like, we have candy now. That's sick.
Do we have candy bars with our faces on it? Because that's pretty cool.
I heard Snickers as well. And also, when he said this podcast is brought to you by, he looked down at his paper. So I thought we had I was like, wow, are we like legit sponsors? We have to check to make sure.
See, I thought he was looking down to think when we used to do fake sponsors.
I was.
I thought he was trying to think of something
We've
funny.
never had a fake sponsor.
I was going to say that
sorry, we're just not sponsored by Michelob anymore.
The IM Force.
Yeah, we've never. This podcast is brought to you by.
This podcast is actually brought to you by Arizona Premium Spiked Beverage, hard, real brewed, iced. Pretty good.
You just didn't say it up front because it would have been the entire podcast.
They actually just texted me that the sponsorship went through. So
okay.
that's.
I told you to run
and then
everything by
RP
me.
burped through us saying the sponsorship. Oh man, they're not going to be happy. They're probably going to pull that sponsorship.
We'll re-record it.
There goes my lifetime free supply of drinks.
But joining me today, as always, is my 2 co-hosts, Bob and Nick. How are you guys?
You weren't looking at me. I knew you were going to do it. I knew if you looked at me, you would have laughed.
Joining us to cover these 3 movies for today is producer Nick. Welcome back to the podcast, bud. How are you?
Good. I feel like I'm the Vin Rames of the previous recorded universe.
I don't know if you're that
Fuck
cool.
off. Yeah. You can't give yourself that. Somebody else can say you.
That's such an.
I feel like I'm the coolest guy in all of these movies.
I feel like I'm the only valuable aspect of this podcast.
Not to say you're not awesome and cool, but Vin, that was you're starting off high, bud.
Yeah.
Like you're setting. Now you got to be ready. You got to deliver.
You better deliver on everything.
You got to have a sexy, deep voice now.
Cut out all of his dialogue so it sounds like he contributed nothing to this after an outlandish claim.
If having a deep voice
then you are
going to be a part of the process, you got some competition. Because not only am I deep to begin with, but I've also lost my voice. So
he also smoked a 30-pack of cigs today just to prepare.
Dude, I sound like I've smoked for the last fucking.
You're at this
90
point. You
years.
might as well.
I've never smoked a cigarette. And I just sound like this. I don't know.
You should smoke cigarettes just so we can see how much deeper your voice
What's
can
going
go.
to happen to it? I just can't.
How much raspier it can
It's
get.
going to start to sound like a machine when I have to get a tracheotomy.
Hey guys.
It's like when
He's drinking Bush through the hole in his throat.
I was going to say, this podcast is brought to you by Busch Light that I buy myself. It's like when a girl said I sounded like Coach Steve and it shut me down for a solid week.
Making that thick in the wall.
Yeah, there's no greater self-esteem hit.
Some girl at a bar was like, "Oh, you sound like Coach Steve." And
At least you didn't say you looked like him.
You should have just followed it up
There
immediately.
would have been if she said you looked like him.
I just kept calling her my guy, my
No,
dudes.
you should have done is followed up and can I make thick in the warm?
Yeah. But then that was right before we went to Chicago. What does Coach Steve say all the time? My dudes?
My
dude?
God.
Hey,
Yeah,
my
my
guy,
dude,
my dude.
So after we go to Chicago, the first bar we go to, the bartender goes, "What can I get you, my dude?" And I lashed out at her. I was like, "What did you call me?"
Don't fucking say that shit to me.
I'm not Coach Steve.
But how are you guys? Good? Everything been good? It's been some time since we
good.
got on the mic.
I'm just here.
Jesus Christ. It was so loud.
Can you just power through? Because honestly,
I'm
when
good.
we were
I'm
talking
done.
and RP sounded like Rick from Rick and Morty, where he's just like burping and like powering through the burp.
I got you. I'll power through.
I'm
Nick,
saying, just don't go away from the mic. Just like keep talking and burping. Just keep going. Like
apologize in advance then, but I will. Welcome back, bud. How are you? You started off strong. I don't. We cut your legs off. How are you?
All right.
All right.
Ran
Cool.
out of steam. Ran out of steam.
You know,
Wow, that was a big Zing Rames comment there.
I'm feeling more like the Australian guy who just or any international
Hey,
character. in
No,
this
no
franchise.
spoilers till we get
Nick's
there.
more like the first movie in a hole. What a snooze fest.
All right, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I'm getting to
So-
a point in my notes of every time we do a movie rewatch where I don't fucking know what I mean by the stuff I wrote down.
Yeah. Well, it's been some time since
So I'm
we
gonna have
watched
to
them.
try and. So like, little spoiler alert for the second movie. I wrote motorcycle joust. No idea where I was going with that one.
I
Yeah,
do. I
go-
do.
they
They
go-
do
yeah.
a joust.
They play
yeah.
chicken. They go straight at each other.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Good note. Past me.
But anyway, we are here to talk about another trilogy. We are here to talk about Mission Impossible 1 through 3 in our Mission Rewatch series. All right, the first Mission Impossible. After finishing a mission,
Staying awake for these movies felt like a mission impossible.
all right, Mission Impossible released in 1996. The summary of the film: after finishing a mission in Kyiv, Jim Phelps and his latest IMF team are sent to Prague to stop rogue agent Alexander Goldlitzing from stealing the CIA NOC list, a list that would reveal all the fake identities of the CIA agents. However, the mission unexpectedly fails after the list is stolen and the team is killed one by one, along with Gulitstein, leaving Phelps' point man, Ethan Hunt, the only survivor. IMF director Eugene Kittredge blames him, and now Hunt is on the run to prove his innocence and track down that list. He recruits his own team of disavowed agents and is rejoined by fellow team member and wife of Jim Phelps, Claire Phelps, played by
Discount Amadeus Armas.
Emmanuel Barrett, who he believed to be dead. Will Ethan succeed in clearing his name and stopping that list from getting out? We'll see. So the film was released in May 22nd, 1996, on a budget of $80 million. It grossed $457.7 million. It is the first film to open on 3,000 screens, which around 4,000 is common today for big films. It broke the at-the-time record for a Wednesday opening of 11.8 million, beating T2. It earned $45.4 million opening weekend, giving it the record for the biggest May opening weekend of all time at that point, which is pretty insane compared to today's standards. Jurassic Park 2 came out the following year and took back that record. $75 million in its first 6 days, beating the first Jurassic Park. So a franchise was born. The scores for this film, Rotten Tomatoes, it's 66% critical, 71% audience. The film stars Tom Cruise, who deferred his $20 million fee for a percentage of the box office on this film. He plays Ethan Hunt. John Voight is the IMF veteran Jim Phelps, and the movie is scored by Danny Elfman. So there is a lot of notes on the kind of the development of this. Some of this, not all of it's interesting. Basically,
Just like the movie.
basically, Cruise was a big fan of the TV show and wanted this as his first project under his Cruise Wagner Productions that he founded with his agent. They convinced Paramount to back the project, and they got working on a story immediately. Then they hired Brian De Palma, who directed Scarface and The Untouchables. They finished two screenplays.
Director?
Yeah, Brian De Palma. They had two screenplays written. Nobody liked them, so they brought in a third writer. That got the film greenlit. De Palma wanted the opening scene to take place in Prague, since it was rarely seen in films, and the fish tank scene was Cruise's idea.
That sounds right.
Yeah, the budget was around $45 to $50 million, but Cruise wanted to go bigger with scenes and convinced the studio to give him more money. The film came in under budget, and Apple spent $15 million to help market the film while including computers in the movie, and they hope to help their image after a $740 million loss in their fiscal quarter. The film's promotion in Germany was complicated because of the Bavarian minister-president's ban of whatever from joining the state civil service. So boycotts were actually made due to the Scientology of the film, which I found kind of interesting. Even though I butchered all that because I didn't hard code the blue titles here, so they didn't print. So it's just blank. But basically, Germany and the promotion of the film was not positive because of Scientology.
That's the worst thing Germany's ever done.
Yeah, right.
What a bunch of jerks, man.
All right, so let's get into the film. Let's start talking about it.
I got like 4 notes for this movie.
I don't have any.
Yeah, I don't really have that much. The beginning opens up with them in
It's like the team.
Prague. It's the team.
You got Gordon Bombay.
Yep.
You got fake Amelia Clark.
He said discount Anna Armas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is fair. Yeah.
She looked like Amelia Clark to me, and I was like, all right, whatever.
I kind of thought it was Amelia Clark for a
Yeah,
second.
and I was like, this movie came
like,
out
wait a minute.
30 years ago, so this doesn't check out.
She wasn't popular yet.
Yeah.
So this one is your standard before you guys started watching it. All right, so let's just start there. I had seen this movie. I watched. My history with Mission Impossible is I had never seen them. Then quarantine happened, and me and Audra were like, you know what, let's give it a go. And the first one I thought was decent. To me, it's like your standard cookie cutter 90s action film.
It just doesn't
It's inoffensive.
age well.
Yes, I would agree. It's
Like you said, like Apple, they put money into this because they wanted one of my notes is any of the graphics on the computers look like a bad old video.
Well, the first thing when I watched this movie, I went, "This is just a weird time in movies where they're like stuck in the '90s, right before like cameras."
because
Because
you know if this is
technology.
if this is coming out in 96, it's filmed in like 94, 95. So what did you guys
look like war games?
before we kind of get into the plot, just overall, what did you guys think? What did you like it? Did you not like it? I know you had watched it first out of the four of us, and me and you were texting about it on the side, and you said you didn't really care for it, but also it's under that lens of homework because this is technically homework.
See, the first two felt like homework. The third didn't.
Yeah, and I said that to you
The
too. Though.
first
the third
one
one's actually good.
it was hard to keep my attention. Mm-hmm. Even like the big scene that they're known for, where he's like grappling down.
Yeah.
I was like bored. I was like,
Yeah.
get the fucking thing and get out of
I
there.
felt like that with 2 more than 1. I was more entertained by 1.
See, he said 2 was better than 1. 2
Yeah.
kept my attention way better.
I just don't think I cared.
No, I said the opposite.
Oh, you
You
liked 2
said
better than 1.
he
No.
said 2 was the worst one.
Two's the worst one.
No, see, 2
Yeah.
2 kept my attention
I-
way better than
I
1.
can't wait to unpack
More
this.
was more was
Two, I
happening.
think we're spending the most time talking about.
The
Yes.
beginning of it, before like the team dies, it gave off the vibe of like
That they all had an orgy probably once or twice. Because that's the vibe I got from that.
Well, I mean,
team.
it starts off with that weird
they definitely
scene.
had sex. I just meant
They
like
all
the
made
way
out on like every mission.
the way it was going was like I said, it felt more like a spoof than like a serious. Like it felt like scary movie
like
and
Mc-
not Scream. If
like
that makes
like
sense.
MacGuber when like he puts the team together and they
Yeah,
all just
like,
get
it was
blown
just,
up.
like so campy and like
So it starts off with all basically. So it's like a team of like six of them on the IMF, which is the Impossible Mission Force, and the mission all goes awry and they all die, allegedly, except for Tom Cruise. And now Tom Cruise is on the run because he's blamed for it, and they try and hunt him down. This happens in Prague, and it's this whole thing where they do the first like Mask is in this scene.
Oh, when,
Well, he does
when
that
Tom
in the very
Cruise
beginning,
is
he does
audition to
the
play
mask.
Joe Biden, the potential Joe Biden
Yeah.
biopic. That's when
They-
that's when
they, like-
he was just wearing a
like the
makeup
con-
and he had to try to
he
do
looked like
impressions.
Colonel Sanders a little bit.
It was like funny
But-
old man makeup.
So it's angst. It's a very young Tom Cruise. So we're talking 96. So I don't know. Maybe he's like late 20s. He's very angsty. I have a thumbs down on that. But I think he carries the film in a way. I think he does do a good job as this happens. So naturally, he sees all these things, everything that happens. The one guy, Emilio Estevez, Gordon Bombay, is on an elevator shaft and gets like his face punctured with like spears. They have these glasses that have cameras on it. So John Voight gets shot. His wife is in the car. Jim Phelps is
that blows up.
John Voight is Jim
The
Phelps.
one-
His
the one-
wife blows up in a car that we
Oh,
think.
felt that when I found out she was his wife, I did let up. I'm like, ew.
Exactly. So John Voight, even in this movie, is old John Voight.
He's always been old. John
He's
Voight.
always where
He's
he's
out the womb 60 years
He's like
old.
Morgan Freeman. He's always old.
he's married to a younger.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad. He's married to a younger, more attractive woman, and it's very strange because at first you're like, "What is
John
is it his
Voight,
daughter?"
huge cock.
Yeah, he's gotta.
I forgot all about that elevator scene.
They call
What
him-
a horrible fucking way to die.
Oh,
Yeah, he
John
said he
Voight.
regrets.
Impaled right in the face.
Said he regrets
What do you-
killing him.
What do you think's worse, getting impaled in the face or getting your knee slashed by the dentist?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say getting impaled in the face or getting impaled by John Voight.
That would have been better. I was just making a Mighty Ducks reference because Emilio Estevez. The dentist is the guy from D2. That's the Iceland coach.
I forgot he was in this movie too. Did
So-
I watch
I
the
did
right
like
movie?
that scene.
Emilio Estevez is the one who gets.
Shane, did you watch the
Impaled in
link?
the face. Yeah,
did
yeah,
you
yeah.
use my voodoo or did you watch it on that link I sent you?
I think I watched the porn parody by accident. Someone did get impaled though.
Also, Voodoo is not the app. It's just this witchcraft that RP's been doing lately.
Voodoo Mama Juju.
Voodoo is what you did on the Celtics
Yeah,
by
it
launching their
Hey,
their toy onto the
That
train
might
tracks.
not age well depending on when this podcast comes out. But let's hope. So my next note is John Voight can't pull that kind of tail. That was my next vote. My next
I
note.
said I audibly let
John
out
Voight-
a new disgusting.
John Voight in the movie or
sentence.
John Voight in real life?
in real life.
Do you feel as though
I think
she
he can.
resembled Angelina Jolie? Because then it's weird.
A little
bit.
bit.
I think he can pull that kind of tail because he's a big time movie star.
I think you can.
He is a big time.
He's also a millionaire. So
This is completely off topic, but Nick and I talked about it earlier. Who do you think is the most famous person
Oh yeah. I
like
mentioned
currently in the world.
in the world?
we mentioned I said Beyonce would be a rival to Taylor,
Taylor Swift and
Swift.
Beyonce. Or you're
We're
kidding?
saying this because there's a Taylor Swift concert happening in the city of Philadelphia right now,
I'm gonna
where
argue
we
John
had
Voight.
dropped her off.
He made me really think about it just for that.
No, I mean, well, we can have that conversation later. But yeah, we were talking about it on the ride here. Like the city is shut down for Taylor Swift. I don't know.
Yeah, like when the
The
Pope.
only
was
other
there.
person I think they would do that for is John Voight.
Oh, he did speak at Holy Family University, so that
Oh wow!
we.
They
I
shut
swear to
down-
God, he
they
did.
shut down half a block.
He did. He like for
But the one in the parking lot, like inside the campus.
for
not outside.
You could not walk in that
Yeah.
parking lot.
for Trump. He came and spoke at Holy Family. I'm pretty sure.
How is that, Nick?
How does that
Does
have-
affect your life?
Yeah, because you. They,
Oh, I think he was there at the rally.
He was actually. It was him. He was in a mask.
he actually he
He was in a mask.
he was John Voight.
He ripped it off.
All right, so the only other real big thing to talk about, as I said, that they wanted to do this fish tank scene. So Tom Cruise is given this gum that he puts together and it can blow something up, and they go to this restaurant that has this giant aquarium. Naturally, they blow it up, and it's pretty freaking cool. Poor fishes
Are
died.
you sure this movie wasn't directed by Michael Bay? That's a very Michael Bay thing to do.
No, Brian De Palma. Brian De Palma.
Peter have a say about this?
No, but they did give the okay on Guardians. That's one thing. Peter
yes.
came out and said 5 out of 5. They really tweeted that. I'm not even
They
kidding.
said something about what it did for animal
Yeah,
cruelty.
yeah,
or
it did.
whatever, But
All right, this is where I'm.
what about the fish scene? Just that it's cool? Is
Yeah,
that
it was
what
just cool.
That was cool.
So,
Cool. I didn't expect. I mean, full spoilers. This came out.
yeah, oh my God, there's
Yeah,
no
17
spoiler
years ago,
warning.
20
No
17
spoiler
years ago.
warning.
I didn't see John Voight not being dead.
Yeah,
oh, what?
no.
All that comically red paint he had on him? And
Yeah, because it's all through when he gets shot. It's all through first person.
I thought the other woman who just walked into a night that the guy was standing at the fence was also alive.
lady-
'cause there's
the lady
no way
You
you would
thought
have done.
when John Voight was dead, you thought he was.
Yeah,
still alive
I knew he was
immediately?
gonna. I had a feeling he was.
The lady
alive.
from
All right, I'm just a fucking idiot, I guess.
I just thought it was too comical how he fell.
I
into
wasn't.
yeah, it falls over a bridge.
You watched me crack it.
It was a loud
I thought
crack.
you
I
were,
didn't
thought you were
know
taking
all
a
of them
jab
were
at
going to
me.
be alive, but I had a feeling.
I don't know. I
he
was taking a
was.
jab at Nick for
Yeah.
just
And
fucking.
then-
I believed him that John Voight was dead, but I feel like I shouldn't have because he's a pretty big name actor to kill off in the beginning of the movie.
Anytime when you watch something and there's a
Yeah.
big name actor and
I
they're
wasn't
like
thinking.
dead.
That's a good
They
gotcha.
killed-
Gotcha.
they killed
the good
Emilio
guy's really the
Estevez
bad guy.
right away.
Yeah, but John Voight's a bigger name
Dude,
at the time.
False.
What had Emilio Estevez done before this?
I'm just saying he's not a bigger name.
Mighty
than he said at the
Ducks.
time. Mighty Ducks probably came
Young
out right around the
Guns.
same time.
When was Breakfast Club? Was that was way
In the
before this,
80s,
right?
yeah,
He's
This is a-
fairly big. At
We're
this
not
point.
tolerating this
Yeah.
Emilio Estevez slander
The
on this
Outsiders.
podcast.
I love Emilio
Outsiders,
Estevez.
right?
Yeah.
yeah, he is in the Outsiders.
I feel this is more tail end probably of his like fame of than anything,
I'm a
right?
big fan of Emilio Estevez.
All right, take it back. Emilio Estevez is the most famous person in the world.
So yeah, basically,
That's gonna be
so
my bit today.
Ethan's just running around,
From the most stubborn.
sweating in a
His
tuxedo,
parents are suffering.
running in yeah. Oh my God,
We'll
yes.
talk about how that comes full
They like
circle.
locked
another
his parents up because he was on the run.
Oh,
Yeah.
they just mistook those two farmers for
Yeah,
two of
so
the
like they
biggest
show it
cocaine
on the
dealers in the
so
country.
let's just jump forward because there are confusing aspects of this film. Like when he meets with the lady through the computer hacking, and he's like Job. I think it's Job, right?
Job,
and he's
yeah.
like doing the Bible references.
I forgot
in
that
the
part,
software.
to be honest.
I think a lot of this movie's fucking stupid. Like I really do. I like and it's because of Tom Cruise's acting. I
My
don't think it's
major
good.
note here for this movie, because I don't really have much. I wrote "This just got real." I don't know when that is. Probably when they killed everybody. I was like, "Oh shit!"
That was-
Yeah,
it
maybe.
might have been the aquarium. I have no idea why I wrote that because I have like 6 notes, so it's not like I can even like track it chronologically.
And I feel like once the aquarium scene happens, it's kind of like then the movie starts. Like if it
Yeah.
kept
Yeah,
that kind of
that's what I mean,
intensity,
yeah.
I was like, then it started going kind
But
of.
so
for me.
my only note is like entertaining enough, but it easily could have just been this one movie and then nothing else.
Very
After
true.
watching this, I wasn't like, I want more of these.
I need to see what happens to Ethan Hunt next.
Ooh, more, please.
Yeah. This was a movie that I kept looking at the runtime, like this time around because I'd already seen it.
It drags.
It does
paced
drag.
poorly but like also I feel like, and I mean I haven't seen them all. I don't know that these would be like good rewatch movies.
No, so that's the problem I'm at right now.
Yeah,
It's like it started out as a good idea, but they're really like they kind of like Fast and Furious blend together.
and also like when you know what's going to be like this twist, you
Yep.
see it coming. So the stuff in the beginning of the movie, like you're like,
Yeah, no,
no,
it's
it doesn't matter. There's no.
yeah, it's just there's a lot of like just basically it's at this point it's the second one will be fun to talk about because it stinks, but and I'll be curious to hear like Shane's points of view.
It's my favorite movie ever.
But there's some interesting things behind the scenes, but like I'm
Second
kind of
Mission
like
Impossible, most famous person in the world.
yeah. We're just at a point where it's like yeah that happened, that was cool.
Fandy Newton, most famous person in the world.
Like there's some cool things like there's
did.
obviously the iconic scene where they drop down
I didn't like that
from the
scene.
ceiling.
Which wasn't that.
No, which is
took
not that
forever.
arcade.
Also, I couldn't believe the Frenchman could
It was
hold
such a-
him up that whole time. during
Yeah,
that
I know.
scene.
It was such a long scene,
Yeah,
and that whole scene was based around giving some guy diarrhea.
yeah, and puking, which I said that guy. My note was that guy's great at puking,
And then
but
that scene continued where the head of the CIA just hated his job so
Yeah.
much and just wanted to retire.
so the guy that's
he was just miserable the whole movie.
the guy that's puking. Like so, they need to get into to get this name list, which releases the names
I
of
like
everybody.
that he's at lunch though, like when she like puts the shit in his drink,
Yeah.
and like he's just sitting next to this super hot person.
Doesn't like flinch at all.
Yeah, and I'd be like,
Hello.
nah, I'd probably be sweating. Like, his face, yeah, he doesn't even react.
He was saving on his perspiring
Like
for later.
also, like, wouldn't you think? And I don't know. I've never worked for Langley, like for the FBI, but like if you're in that building, I know it's a big building, but like if
You
there's
notice
a person
people.
who is that like superstar, supermodel type attractive, wouldn't you like be like?
oh, isn't that one of our top agents?
I've seen you around before. Like, wouldn't you
Exactly.
be kind of like thrown off by like a, hey, who's this weird, attractive person?
You,
that I've
it's also
never
just like
seen?
a repetition too. Like if you eat lunch there every day, we're gonna realize people. So they have to. The reason why they're at
They're loud
the
cans.
Pentagons is because they need to break into this incredible. Some would say maybe impossible vault to break into. And
the mission doesn't seem possible.
possible, yeah. So she puts the hot girl married to John Voight puts this stuff in the guy's drink.
She's French. That's why we're not saying her name.
Yeah, I don't
so
know
She
how to
doesn't,
say
she
it.
doesn't really matter.
Emmanuel, whatever the fuck her name
We don't
is.
have listeners in France, right?
No, we don't.
We don't even have listeners in America.
We're huge in Sweden.
Most famous 4 people in the world previously recorded
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, so the
I
guy.
heard that we had listeners in France, but they gave up. Oh, they surrendered. They surrendered, guys.
So if you haven't seen the movie, the guy they put like this medicine in the guy's drink to make him keep getting sick. The guy's great at puking. Because they have to break into the Pentagon. The two.
Stellar acting.
I like that. Like as a.
It's my note.
Put it on your resume though.
guy's-
I like creative puking as like a special skill.
Put that on his resume.
Yeah,
great.
like I'm a really strong puker.
He's great at pooping and shitting. I realized I said pooping and shitting. I meant puking and shitting.
What's the difference? Now we gotta break this down a little bit.
Let me get through this fucking scene. Then we can talk about pooping and shitting all we want. All right, so they break into the Pentagon to steal the knock list that they have to get from this one thing, and if it goes one temperature above, all these alarms go off. It's supposed to be suspenseful. It's really not. It's kind of boring at
Do you
points.
think in 1996 that was like?
It was electric.
I was gonna say that was like the height of suspense.
It just drags on a bit.
You can move it.
Yeah,
It was electric.
make it like 5 minutes shorter, and it's fine.
Boogie, woogie, woogie, pooping and shitting. So they do this whole undercover plan after he recruits Nick and the rest of the disavowed agents to help him. Like basically people that are like fired from the agency.
It was just Nick and the French guy, right?
Yeah, it was just Nick and the French
and
guy.
then the girl,
And the French woman.
and the French woman,
And the French woman.
So it was Nick, Ethan Hunt, and then two people who don't matter.
The French guy that he hates rats.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's the last note I have until kind of the twist happens.
I'm
You don't
done.
talk about he does Wolverine on the train. Just to
That's
jump
not.
and fly?
Well, the twist happens before that.
That was
Oh, I thought you
ridiculous.
said this
And
movie.
first
for a
off,
second.
Wolverine does Tom Cruise. This movie came out first. So
Nick picked a reference from one of the worst X-Men movies possible.
when he like is on the train and just goes, all right, and he's just like flying down the cars and like just gripping on.
yeah, at the end, like
Because-
the end battle. So the twist happens that John Voight planned it all along and planned to pin it on Ethan Hunt. I don't really know why, because he was banging his wife or something.
No,
But
because he says that he doesn't make enough money. That's the
Now,
reason.
that's the whole
Yeah,
reason?
he's not
That he-
as
he-
an IMS.
Yeah.
no,
IMF
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 agent.
agent.
he
that
doesn't
they
make
kind of
much
just
money.
throw you to the side.
classic,
for
And then he
everything.
classic '90s bad guy. He just wants money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's John Voight and his wife are in on it.
Yeah.
and to get Ethan Hunt like
including the French guy. He's in on it
but
too.
to get Ethan Hunt like thrown in, yeah. See, the French people suck. John Voight like encourages his wife to fuck Ethan Hunt.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Like to get him in on. So it's
Once
like a
I'm
weird
saying,
cuck
I think this
situation.
team has done that before, so it's not that big of a deal.
He just
Yeah, but
killed
so
everybody
here's
who
the-
didn't give him an orgasm.
It is a big deal because Emilio Estevez at this point is he's dead. So we don't care about any of this sex. If Emilio's not there, it doesn't matter. That's
If
most
the ducks
fam-
are
it's the most
flying
famous
together,
person in the world.
we're not caring.
Yeah.
Yep.
When the team's fucking in the back room, ducks fly together.
So they reveal themselves at the train station in London, maybe?
Sure, let's go with that.
Sure. And Ethan gives himself up. He calls like he knows. And then John Voight happens to be there. And Ethan's acting like John Voight's telling him all these things, which is not the truth, to make like John Voight look like the good guy and all these other people were the bad guys. But Ethan's figured it out in his head, which as an audience member, as soon as he shows up, you know he turned on you.
Yeah, he's the bad
But
guy.
Ethan's like sitting there like, and it's terrible acting by Tom Cruise in my opinion. But he's like, oh my god,
he
this,
figured-
this, and they're showing you the clips of him figuring it all out, and then that kind of just starts the
Yeah, the
downward
biggest
descent.
giveaway for him was that the Bible was from the Hotel of
Yep.
Chicago. where
Yeah,
he
which
said
he
was-
gave
he
in the
was
beginning of the
staying, yeah.
movie.
Yeah, the smallest plot because he just Jim Phelps, John Voight, had just came back from Chicago, so he brought the Bible with him to this safe house. Dumb. This is dumb.
See, anybody should know in a '90s movie if somebody you think was dead is not dead, that's a bad guy.
Yeah.
But they had to do that little recap scene just for stupid people in the theater to be like, "Oh my god, your voice
Yeah,
is
that
bad."
Yeah, they cut
definitely-
to him like seeing the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait a second.
Whoa.
Chicago. They just.
Because some people were like, "Wow, John Voight's alive and he's gonna help Ethan Hunt." and you're like, "No,
Thank
he's
God.
dead."
Now he's got an ally.
Oh, by the way, the
Turns
guy.
out two of the allies were French. Should have known they were going to give up.
By the way, the guy who's good at puking is in the new one. He's back.
Does he puke?
Is he
No,
pooping or
he's shitting
shitting?
I thought it was a decent twist.
Does
and
all his own stunts.
Stupid and shit.
It was a good twist at the time. Talking about it now, whatever. So
I mean, watching the movie, it was like,
I thought it was a good twist.
Once again,
It's
I
fine.
still was
But,
enjoying
like,
this movie.
it's entertaining enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, as soon as he shows up, okay, he's the bad guy. But still, good twist that he.
John Voight is in at least 2 movies where you think somebody dies and then they become the bad guy when they're not dead. Because he's in the Italian Job, isn't he?
I feel like that's a lot of
Dad's favorite movie.
Yeah, he dies in the beginning.
He's a National Treasure. He's
No,
a
but
fantastic
Edward
beast.
Norton, you think? No, Mark Wahlberg, you think dies.
But I think John
But he
Voight-
comes
John
back as the
Voight's
good
in,
I think
guy.
John
two
Voight
movies
dies.
that have one of the
Yeah,
most
and that's-
common
I'm saying
structure
he's in
to
2
apply.
movies.
Where the guy who was
John
good
Voight, if
actually
he's gonna,
is bad.
John Voight reads a script where somebody dies and comes back to life. He calls his agent.
I'm in.
He's like, you gotta get me this
It's
fucking
like
part.
it's like the Michael Caine line where I read the script. If I'm on the first page and the last page, I'm in.
Tell the director to make my wife 15 years younger, and I'm in.
John Voight gets that movie. You know why? He's the most famous person in the world.
But yeah, he gets whatever he wants.
All right. So then the next scene is that they have these. There's something he's got to give the knock list to John Voight on the train where he figures out that
There's a
John Voight's the
briefcase.
bad guy. It's a briefcase that
Sum
Nick's.
this up in 30 seconds. It's a challenge. Go.
All right. All right.
Get
Hold
me to the end
on.
of the movie in 30
Wait.
seconds.
All right. Hold on.
Let me get a timer going.
Let me think about the end of the movie.
Yeah, I'll give you a chance.
Shit. Look at IMDb real
All
quick.
right.
Okay.
You ready?
Ready? Go. Okay, so Nick comes on the train and blocks the signal, the knock list from going out, and Tom Cruise confronts John Voight, who he knows what's going to happen. He knows he's going to try and kill him, but then he does a face thing, and Tom Cruise is also John Voight, and then there's a whole battle on the top of the train. It's Wolverine. If you've seen the Wolverine, that's basically what happens. And helicopter with the French guy comes into the tunnel on the train, which is pretty crazy for the time. That's because Tom Cruise wanted it.
It was a cool scene.
And then, the train blows up. John Voight dies. Or no, the helicopter blows up. John Voight dies. And then his name is cleared and his
30
parents are released
seconds.
from prison.
That's not bad. That's not
The
bad.
helicopter in the tunnel was a sweet scene.
You say Tom Cruise is John Voight also like just throwaway.
Oh, yeah.
He's wearing those masks again, but just like if you didn't see this movie, Tom Cruise is also John Voight.
Also, if you haven't seen the movie, why the fuck are you listening to this? Like this is not what we do. We don't we're recapping that recapping pooping shit and recapping.
We're not
and
doing as
recapping
well
them.
as the pooping and shitting guy.
Look, we're not doing our normal Indiana Jones
Honestly-
style. We're cramming 3 of these fucking movies into one.
Honestly, if you
talking
haven't-
about
That's why I
pooping and
said give it
shit.
to me in 30 seconds.
If you haven't seen this movie, keep it that way.
Yeah. No, well, it's worth
Just
it.
watch the tunnel scene.
I will say you could probably just watch 3
You
and
can probably
be good.
see a YouTube video.
Yeah, thanks for
where
letting
it
me.
sums it
Thanks
up.
for
Or
telling me
listen to
that
this
now.
podcast. You're
You
welcome.
wait till now to tell me I can just watch 3.
Well, we're fucking doing this thing.
2 is my favorite movie of all time, so I can't wait till now.
So basically, Cruise for that end scene. So it's pretty cool. The French guy,
helicopter.
the helicopter.
Did he
and
pitch that he wanted to actually fly a helicopter through a tunnel?
He was
'Cause
probably actually on the fucking train.
So
when it was
Cruise
blowing
approved
up.
the script for a showdown to take place on top of the moving train. The actor wanted to use France's high-speed actually use France's high-speed train for filming. Of
course he did.
But the rail authorities objected. Thus, De Palma visited railroads on 2 continents trying to find a suitable location elsewhere. Cruise decided to dine with the TGV owners, and the following day, the crews were given permission to form on the high-speed train line.
So when the train's
So
going
he
down,
got
and
dinner
they're-
with them, and then
he
all
wanted
of a
to
sudden it's
actually
fine.
hold on to the train while it was like zooming down.
yeah,
the
he's
track.
fucking nuts.
Do you think Tom Cruise drained those guys?
He definitely drained those guys. For the actual sequence, Cruise wanted the wind powerful enough that could blow him off the train. Cruise had
Tom Cruise wants to die.
I think
yes.
he does.
I think he wants to prove. He wants to meet.
Why else would he do this?
He wants to meet
touch God.
Xehanort or whatever the
He wants to touch
Scientology
God.
god
He wants
is.
to touch God tonight? Yeah, let's just take all Asper's lines today. No, it's a puppy.
In this movie, he was a puppy.
Yeah.
He's literally insane.
Yeah, he's just a nut job.
Yeah,
It was cool. That scene is cool.
Yeah,
it's
it seems
probably the
cool.
coolest scene in the movie as far as like
Absolutely,
action goes.
absolutely.
That's why 3 is better. 3, that scene happens on 6 different occasions where there's something very cool happening.
yeah. So the movie is very. I think it's very slow. It builds. There's the big act. There's the big climax. But the films, as they go on, they do get bigger and better. Like not the second one, but the third one.
And I also feel like so far, I've seen 3 now. They get bigger and better, but they don't get. It's not like Fast and the Furious where like this stuff becomes
Outlandish.
inconceivable. Yeah, like a couple things in 3, but nothing where it's like, oh, he would be dead or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like the parachute stuff in 3, like some of it's a little weird. But
So, thumbs up or thumbs down on Mission Impossible 1?
thumbs middle.
One up, one down.
Yeah. It's like
So
it's,
negate? So nothing?
Yeah, nothing
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
movie.
Okay.
I would say
one up, one to the
I would
middle.
say I enjoy it. Give it a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. I give it a thumbs up, too.
But gotta say, all this is we'll talk about the stakes higher. Everything that just happened in this movie was all for just a list that cost $10 million. So they did all that. That's in the movie. They
Yeah,
keep
that's
on saying
true.
he's doing this all for $10 million.
which like you would say like, oh man, that maybe that was just a
Well,
lot more
hold on.
money.
Do you have the internet?
Yeah.
Can you go to $1996 to
I
today?
did
all
this.
have
I
the
think
internet?
I did this.
But here's what I'm
before.
saying, right? That's what I was gonna say. 1996, I was like, maybe that was a ton of money. How much did this movie cost to make?
$10 million.
$50 million.
The budget.
Maybe John Voight was just trying to make an indie film.
I'm not used to going backwards in my notes. I can't do this. 80 million.
80 million. So like I'm saying, even if you're like doing this,
No,
like
no.
you're making the movie, you know what your budget is, and then you're talking about 10 million in the movie, like it's a ton of money, and your movie costs more than that.
Yeah.
Like just make it an obscure.
Is
amount
that a
of money.
zero? Is that an
Yeah,
additional
who
zero?
cares?
Who cares?
It's
It's fake.
100
None of
million.
them matter.
For equivalent of a little bit over $90 million.
So he sold his soul for.
Do you
I would
think
sell.
he would have
Hold on.
invested?
Would you
Drain
you-
some people for $19 million? Of course.
I would sell my soul for $19 million.
Fuck yeah.
There's a lot of money you could do.
Kidding me? I'm retired.
But do you think that
You
John?
know how many
Voight,
podcasts I could produce with?
do you think John Voight planned on investing that money? Like he would have so much more now.
Well, he did put his money into Bitcoin back then.
So wouldn't he might have like the whole knock list going after him now that they're all compromised?
Did John Voight
so it's
invent
$19 million
Bitcoin?
worth.
I want to
to
see that movie. I want to see that movie.
You said somebody. Did you say somebody didn't take a salary on this? They invested in the
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
So how much
didn't-
did he end up
some
making?
guy.
Did-
So he took a percentage of what was it, $450 million. So even if it
and
was 10%,
20 how much was he supposed to get paid?
20.
So the budget of the film was 50 million. And Tom Cruise was 20 million of that, or 80
80
million.
million was the budget.
80 million. It would have been 20 million, but it's not. He took a
But I'm
percentage
saying
of the
he was
box
going
office.
to be.
So how much was the box office? Did he end up making?
$450 million. So even if he just took 10%,
He
still made out more.
it's like the Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
thing for the first Avengers. He
I'm
made like
still
$150
baffled by
million.
the fact that Tom Cruise was going to be.
He wanted the movie that.
What I'm saying is he was going to be
That's his quote.
1/5 of the movie's budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's RDJ in what was that, Infinity War? We had some
No, the
outlandish.
first Avengers. He made $150 million off the first
That's
Avengers.
crazy.
All right. Well,
And then they made a second.
He could have never acted again after that.
So
movie.
we
That's
can talk about
insane.
that, I guess.
so since the movie was received so well, Mission Impossible 2 came out 4 years later.
I think Tom Cruise won a VMA for the first one.
He probably did. It was released May 24th.
Did he sprint up to the stage?
Full speed.
Did. Released May 24th, 2000 on a $125 million budget. The film grossed $546.4 million. Made $12.5 million opening Wednesday, at the time the fourth highest of all time. Opening weekend was $57.8 million, beating Toy Story 2 for the third highest at the time. And it went on to gross $91.8 million over that same 6-day holiday window, coming up just short of Jurassic Park 2's.
Dude, what are you
we have
doing?
barbecue.
Yeah, barbecue.
Jurassic-
You're only talking about pork and
Yeah,
shitting today
yes.
because you have barbecue for
It's
dinner?
my peas. It dethroned Austin Powers for the biggest spy film opening weekend, and it once again up. I thought that was interesting enough to include. Yeah, and it once again upped the ante on the screens.
You
30
think the studios are like in board meetings, like we gotta top the spy charts here. We gotta give us something.
That damn Austin Powers.
Nobody can dethrone Austin Powers.
It was on 3,600 screens, a record held until the first Harry Potter was released, and it finished with $546.4 million, the highest of 2000. Rotten Tomatoes, 56% critical, 42% audience. Lowest of the franchise for both. Thandie Newton, Anthony Hopkins, and Brandon Gleeson are the notable names to join the cast, with Nick returning. Thandie Newton was nominated for Worst Actress, and Limp Bizkit's song "Take a Look Around" was nominated for Stinker Award for Worst Song.
Just so we can get this out of the way, my first note for this: the opening scene of this movie is fucking trash.
I was always about to say
Tom Cruise
too.
rock climbing.
No,
with
it's
cool
the
sunglasses
no,
on and
it's
shit.
the airplane one where the guy has the mask, and I said,
Oh.
fuck this movie."
That
after
sucks, and so does Tom Cruise.
And then
on the
Tom
rock.
Cruise.
But
in
when
that
Tom
scene
Cruise is on the rock,
Doing his
Lincoln
hand.
Park, or Lincoln Park, Limp
Limp
Bizkit.
Bizkit.
Take a look around, place. My note: finally, a movie with some Limp Bizkit. I've been being Fred Durst on this podcast
Yeah.
for how many years?
I made a note in the second movie that the third movie answered. I said, putting on a fake mask doesn't change your voice.
Yeah.
And then they explained
Yep.
it. They must have read my note.
They did. So we'll get into that.
2023, They read your.
Well,
They,
Tom
they
Cruise.
went back and retconned it.
Tom Cruise is a time machine and loves his podcast. The score was composed by Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer, most famous person on the planet.
Yep.
That one I agree with.
I will never say Tom Cruise for this, by the way.
That rock climbing scene, everything about it. That he doing the rock climbing. Why is this even happening? Then you got Anthony Hopkins never turning a paycheck, and then they're giving him sunglasses to tell him the mission. They exploding in slow motion.
Yep. So, fun fact about this: Ian McKellen turned down the role that Anthony Hopkins played.
Smart decision for X-Men.
Yes.
That the main villain
Yeah.
turned down Wolverine to
Yep.
do this.
You know,
And then, so the
your
rumor-
definition of fun fact versus my definition of fun fact are two different things.
So fun fact, and this guy kind of derailed his career
Hey,
by
I'm trying
picking the wrong
to do my
Trying
fucking job over here, man.
Trying to give us something.
Rumors that De Palma and Cruz, Brian De Palma directed the first one, did not get along were raised after Brian De Palma refused to do press for the first movie. So John Woo, who did Face Off, was brought in to direct this one.
He's Brian De Palma.
So, speaking of the opening scene, the studio
That wasn't
expressed
a Ving Rhames line there, Nick.
the studio expressed concerns about the filming of Tom Cruise's entrance scene, which he's on the solo. He's free solo climbing at the Dead Horse Point State Park in Moab, Utah. Cruise refused to drop the idea because he could not think of a better way to reintroduce the character. There was no safety net as he filmed the sequence, but he did have a harness with a thin wire, and he tore his shoulder when performing the jump from one part of the cliff to the other. So you watch the first movie, and you go, how do you bring this character back?
I know.
Free rock climbing.
Well, when I was watching the first movie in my head, I was like, this guy's a pussy.
How would he look rock climbing?
Tom
like-
Cruise was sitting around thinking, what's the absolute coolest thing you can do in the whole world?
Well, the coolest thing you
Rock
could
climbing
do.
shirtless with cool sunglasses.
The coolest thing you could do is at Thandie Newton. So Thandie Newton discussed her unpleasant on-set experience with Cruise during the
Heavy
shooting.
on the disgust.
Shooting of the balcony scene in the 2020 interview. According to Newton, Cruise was heavily stressed over the expectations of the sequel being good. Plot spoiler alert: they were not,
It wasn't good.
and was
He was
upset.
rightfully stressed. He was like, as he's filming, he's like, God, this fucking sucks.
Probably should have been more stressed.
He
Like
said,
Tim Robinson. I didn't know it was going to fucking suck.
so he said he was upset during the shooting and said the scene when they're on the balcony, like when they first meet, she had, in quotes, the shittiest lines. The two decided to reverse role play each other as practice. However, it was unhelpful for her and pushed her into a place of terror and insecurity. After the shooting was finished for the day, she contacted Jonathan Dean, telling him what had happened. Looking back on the day, Newton said about Cruise, bless him, and I really do mean bless him, because he was trying his damnedest.
Does
So-
Thandie Newton have PTSD from this movie?
She
It
might.
sounds
I
like.
mean, most people do working with Tom Cruise. So what happens in Mission Impossible 2? Ethan Hunt returns to lead his IMF team on a mission to capture a deadly virus developed by German bioscientist Dr. Vladimir Nikorovich on orders from Biosite Pharmaceuticals. Before it was released on the world by IMF agents turned terrorists led by Sean Ambrose. Ambrose and his gang of international terrorists have already managed to steal the cure and will swap in exchange for total control of Biosite and the millions of profits it will generate from the cure. On orders of the IMF director Swanbeck, Ethan must recruit Naya Nordhoff Hall, Ambrose's ex-girlfriend, Thandie Newton, to help recover the virus and the cure. Will Ethan make this impossible mission possible? Basically, they have this virus they want to unleash on the world. They're terrorists, former IMF agent, and basically Ethan Hunt's got to use his girlfriend, the villain's ex-girlfriend, to help get it back and find a cure in time to save everything. That's basically the plot of the movie. And like we said, it starts off with the rock climbing sequence, which is dumb. I hate this movie. I genuinely hate. Out of all the rewatches we've done, this is the worst movie I've watched.
Worse than Temple of Doom?
Worse than Temple of
You
Doom.
know how
by
Bob
far.
said at the beginning of the first one felt like a spoof?
'Cause-
I thought this one felt like a spoof of the first movie.
Temple of Doom, you could at least argue, was from the 80s.
Yeah.
This was like
This movie
this
is
they
the
have an excuse.
No,
this
you can-
movie is the year 2000.
You can argue that Spielberg was going through some shit during Temple of Doom. This, I don't know what the fuck was happening. And this movie, so again, Audra and I watched these. She didn't finish this one and still hasn't finished. She's never watched this one because she was like, this is awful. I'm leaving.
I don't blame her.
And if 3 was bad, I never would have watched 4, 5, and 6 because this movie stunk that fucking bad. So it starts off with the IMF agent who has, as Shane said, a question in his notes was he's wearing a Tom Cruise
But they all have
fake
the thing
mask.
on their throats.
So now the thing on the throat is what?
But that's explained in 3. How that works doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
we'll get to that's
Yeah, they make
a
you
good
wait
scene
like
in that
5 years
movie
before they
where-
explain
in
it.
3.
where there's
hate-
actually a good script and a director.
I
to
don't know
do
that 3 has a good script.
A better script, I would say.
Yeah. So
The first 2 have bad scripts. 3 has lines.
Oh,
that are,
yeah.
That are they seem like they were written by like Snapchat AI.
Yeah.
Like it's like say something for when I'm
Watch
done
out!
climbing a wall.
Watch out, writer
So-
strike! You're getting those kind of scripts.
this movie could be written by AI. So before we get into it, Shane, you mentioned you liked it. What did you like about it?
No, I didn't say I liked it. I said it kept my attention better than the first.
Okay.
Because the first drags on, especially that scene where he's coming through the fucking ceiling.
This one has more action.
There's just more going on.
Okay.
I don't like this movie. It just kept my attention.
Don't get it wrong.
Don't get it
Don't
twisted.
put that out
I
there.
fucking hate this movie.
It kept my attention better.
Okay.
It's still a stinker,
Yeah.
but shit was actually happening the whole movie where
kept
I could
you
like,
engaged.
yeah,
Like
I
doves
could pay
flying
attention.
around, people putting sunglasses on and off.
Yeah. Nick, what do you think?
It was so bad. I was enjoying it, just laughing at it. That I couldn't believe it just kept on getting worse.
This is one of those ones where I kept looking to see how much time was left.
Yes. That's how I feel.
This was the movie where I realized that they were gonna keep doing that fucking face reveal thing.
Yep.
And I laughed.
Well,
every-
Which I put never gets old. I love the mask.
I put on mine because in this movie they might do it 6 different times.
Yeah.
And I looked up because I was like, what did John Woo? What else did he direct? Like I know that name. And then it's Face Off.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
You know, with the faces, though, the only thing I do always find weird is that I know they're trying to hide the fact how short Tom Cruise is in the movies.
Oh, yeah.
But that how does no one know, especially his girlfriend?
So that's a great-
that he's not.
That's
He's
a-
somehow
I didn't
5
even-
inches taller now.
That's a
I had
really
enough left over.
that's a really great point. That even if you have the same voice and the same look with the face mask, the height. Tom Cruise is a small dude.
He's like 5'4".
Yeah.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I guess platform. Bob, we're like the same height.
I'm 5'6". I'm just saying.
5'7".
I like when he's paired up with like on the taller side actresses, and they still make them like the same height.
All
They're
right.
not that fucking tall.
So, just to make things easier, what did we like about this movie?
The face reveals.
The face reveals I thought were cool. I thought it worked.
It's so stupid.
That might be it.
Yeah. Thandi Newton.
Yes, I do like Thandie Newton a lot.
I don't love her.
No, but she's attractive.
I like her.
I did say
Westworld kind of like made me not like her as much because I feel like
that's all I knew her from.
But I'm just saying, like Westworld, like I soured on Westworld because I just felt dumb when I watched it.
Yeah.
So
which
then
we
I
talked
think
about.
I like
This
just started to dislike her because she's in it, and so
after
like, I have
after
like
season
PTSD.
season 1 of Westworld, it was alright, and then season 2 they're like, let's confuse the shit out of
And
everybody.
then I don't even think I watched season 3.
This movie does have one of my favorite movie quotes of all time. It's Ving Rhames. We just rolled up a snowball and tossed it into hell. Now we'll see what chance it has. So stupid.
So
Ving Rhames-
that's what you liked about this movie. You like Nick.
So dumb.
Ving Rhames, it's my first note for Mission Impossible 3 because it was as soon as he like came into the third one. My note is Ving Rhames is the best part of these films, and it isn't close.
Yeah, I do
There's a
really
reason
like
why
him.
he's the one team member. He just keeps on getting picked
Well,
up
then,
again for these
then after I
missions.
finished 3 today, I went and looked, and Ving Rhames doesn't come back for a while, and I'm a little upset about
Yeah.
No,
it.
isn't he doesn't come back to what 5?
I don't know.
Ving Rhames
He's
is my
not in 4. He's in one of the ones that doesn't have a number on it, so then I didn't know which one.
When there's
that
a
was.
certain level of
I don't
action, they have to
remember.
get
He's
Ving
definitely
Rhames
in
out of
Fallout.
it.
I know he's in
Fallout.
another one. I just don't know which one.
Ving Rhames is my favorite part until 3 when they bring in Simon Pegg because I love Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg was barely. We'll wait
know.
till 3.
Oh,
Give
we got to keep on 2.
We got to stay on 2. But people,
as
two.
as
The
often
people-
as all of us kept looking at the run start time, We have to power through.
the
this. We have to power
People
through.
want to hear about too.
Is the Australian
The clamoring,
helicopter
yeah.
pilot like right away? I went, "You're never like gonna matter in these movies
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
again."
And by the people, I mean
Well,
my brother.
the French, the pilot.
Yeah, he's the new
Italian-
French guy.
Australian pilot.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brian,
I was
brother
gonna say,
of Bob.
I mean, my brother, Brian.
Brother Bob.
No, like Aldridge.
Oh,
What do we call him, Brian? Oh, we
Yeah,
we
that's
say his
not-
last name. I just didn't know if he had. it.
Brian, brother-in-law of RP.
Yeah, Mark.
He might not. He might not listen to this because he hasn't seen the movies. But
Yeah.
if you're here, thank
Like,
you. We love
yeah,
you.
He's here. and
Our
still
6
here.
listeners want to know about 2. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Bob's brother listened to all the Game of
Hey,
Thrones
apparently-
episodes.
Brian will listen.
Hey, apparently our audience size is 100 according to the data. So
That's me listening 99 times.
that surprised me. We haven't put an episode out since
same
March.
size as John Voight's dick.
Oh yeah, oh, hey, oh, ooga, ooga, ooga.
That's the most famous dick in the world.
All right. So again, like I said, Thandie Newton. But however, they don't do her any justice because they really put the woman or bad driver stereotype to use like immediately because she's just like crashing cars and shit like that. Anthony Hopkins, I thought was good.
Sean Ambrose, the character, is like a super creep. Like
Yeah.
basically, is like
Yeah.
he basically has Thandie Newton like trapped. Like he's holding her hostage. It seems like.
Okay, I'm reading my notes and I forgot how fucking ridiculous this movie was. So I really do, like Nick said, this is 2000. These movies are very much products of their time.
Yeah, they don't age well.
No, they don't until I think three.
Three, I
ages
think
well.
was fine. Yeah.
Again, what did we like about this movie? Because I can go through some of these parts because there is some nonsense that I forgot.
Say what you want to talk. There's one scene and one scene alone that I already pulled up to show you guys.
Okay.
But it's at the end, so we'll do that.
Okay,
at the
towards
end
the
of
end?
this. But,
Okay.
And then the only other thing is my only other note is that motorcycle chase scene, which I think was supposed to be like the big action sequence.
It looks like it's filmed in suburbs.
I completely spaced out.
Yeah, it's like
I was not
going-
interested
same
at all,
thing.
yeah.
I was like, it's done.
Like
this
I
movie's
completely,
over.
completely tuned out, and then they're like throwing the motorcycles at each other. I was like, "What the fuck did I just miss?"
so I watched this movie.
and I don't even like pick up my phone when I
You
watch
talk
this.
about
It's
how,
not even
like-
like I was like on social media or on my phone. I was just staring at the screen and just like spaced out thinking about something
It's
else.
because it's
entirely.
not a good movie.
it wasn't interesting.
I downloaded this, put it on my tablet, watch it on a train, watch it at the gym. Like I was doing everything in my power to use my time and watch this film at the same time.
I watched this. I had like a slow day at work. I put it on.
Yeah.
RP did say when we decided to do this to watch 2 while you were doing something
Yes.
else.
Yeah, he did.
I did. Because it's not worth the 2
Your
hours.
undivided
Yeah,
attention.
it's not. My biggest problem with this movie is there's too much slow motion. There is a
That's my
ton.
so much unnecessary. It
So
felt
much
like
a
a
Snyder movie.
They were just doing
yeah.
normal things. And they would put it in slow motion.
Yeah, he like brushed his teeth and it's like
Yeah, but that scene was cool.
that. You know what it was?
Was he wearing cool sunglasses? I forget.
And his stupid long fucking
Was
hair.
he
Yeah,
was he
his hair
hanging
does
from a
look
rock
dumb.
and he was
Is he
brushing
growing his hair
I'd
from
always-
Last Samurai, or is that like post Last Samurai? Hair?
I had always wondered if Tom Cruise did little circles or just went back and forth. So it was good to know.
He just
Good to get an answer.
What do
to the question.
Scientologists do? Do they brush their teeth at all?
No, the alien.
Well, if you guys
overlord
didn't notice,
does it for him.
His lips here, his teeth are to the left. If you ever look at Tom Cruise,
I'm not going to be able to not see that now. I don't
Yeah.
Google
I
a
knew
picture of
that.
Tom
His
Cruise.
teeth aren't,
His
like,
his
center.
not center.
God damn it!
Because he got him.
They said they like
I don't know if they're
Tom
probably
Cruise.
veneers,
For the record, very handsome man.
God damn it! Why did you have to do that? To me?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to unsee this.
Why did you have to do that?
I saw that picture. Yeah.
Can you post this picture?
I will. So it's a picture of Tom Cruise
God damn
smiling.
it.
It's like the Harrison Ford picture where there's like 2 sides.
Yeah,
like
that's
he's just
so
smiling.
weird.
God
So
damn it.
His right.
His palate,
What's,
like-
what's that tooth in the middle? The front. The front two. What are they called?
Like just your front
Whatever.
teeth.
Like
your
his two front teeth. His right one is directly under the center of his nose.
Yep.
Why did you have to do that to me?
You're welcome.
But you ever see his teeth before he got them fixed?
Yeah, I just looked it up.
Oh, he got his teeth fixed.
1981. They're
Holy
Yeah.
Shit, he looks like Jewel,
my sister?
no, the singer.
the country music. She looked like she got punched in the mouth.
So this movie would have been probably about an hour and a half without the slow motion.
Would it make it 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
Like the Snyder cut?
There's a slow-mo scarf grab that Thandie Newton just puts back on her. It's so dumb. There's no point to it. The one thing that pisses me off about any movie with hacking at all is when they're hacking, they're just slamming the fucking keys on. I hate that. And like sometimes they'll show like Felicity on Arrow used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's just like let me.
Like,
I just spelled the.
oh no, this is an unbreakable wall. I just broke in.
There they go. It's unbreakable. And I'm in.
No, it's like, yeah, wait, it's unbreakable. Give me a minute.
Yeah, no, it's always they give a time. I'm gonna need 2 minutes on this.
You know what? I feel like these
Or like
movies...
the third one, they say they're like, she's like, I need 2 minutes. So what's that mean? I get one? I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you got him. You got him, yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna need 24 hours to break into this. You have 2.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is unbreakable for a normal person.
Yeah. I always whenever I
No, keep them going.
Whenever I think of hacking, I always think of like I think it's the Italian Job where it's Seth. Is that Seth Green in the Italian Job? And he's just like controlling streetlights. He's like, all right, that's street. What we green now? He taps the keyboard.
I just
real
like
hard.
hate it, like because if you look at it's like writing code, you actually have to like pay attention to like what you're writing.
That was big during COVID, like teaching wise, because we'd have meetings on Zoom, and like people would like type on the screen. And in my head, I was always like, what the fuck did that keyboard do to you? Like, you can hear through the Zoom how hard they were typing. And I was like, why are you doing that? Like, why
It's
are
a
you
firewall. They're trying to break
why are
in.
you attacking your keyboard? It was more so people who had, like, nails. It's just, like, loud on the keyboard. And so the speaker on the computer picks it all up. So when you're watching, like, a Zoom, all you hear is them typing. Like, this is a lot.
So that was one note. So this was the part that when I looked at my notes and I was like, forgot how fucking dumb this movie was.
Cool horse racing scene.
So it's kind of in line with that. So they're doing their bids for the virus and they just show a picture of the amount of money they're going to bid. He like hands them and I'm like, why not just write down your bid? Like it's literally a printed picture, square, like, you know, like a square, like you put it on a Word document of like $45 million. So, and it's just a picture of money. It's so dumb. It's like,
wait, he bid almost 5 times?
whatever the number was.
4.5 times what John Voight was
Oh
gonna
yeah,
make.
yeah. But it's a folded up piece of paper and just a picture of money. Like, what are you doing?
One problem I had with that scene when Thandie
The entire
Newton,
movie?
like when Thandie Newton like pockets the thing from his jacket pocket.
She's a bad girl.
Oh, she's
bad.
the worst
She's-
world-class thief ever.
Did she replace that with another like drive in his pocket?
No, because
she puts
he
it
realizes
back.
it.
If you
He says
that's what I'm
it's in
saying.
my left it's in his left
Yeah, he put
breast
it in,
pocket.
she put it,
and
she
puts
took it
in the
out.
right.
You think you're just gonna take that out and he's not gonna notice? You didn't like
He felt her
Indiana. You didn't Indiana Jones switch it.
He's
He
trying to
felt-
fuck her so bad.
Yeah, he felt her titties
doesn't
on her.
matter.
Like, it's fine.
No, he
For
said
real.
Yeah.
she put it in the wrong one. It's like she's a bad thief.
She's a bad girl.
Or did he know she was gonna switch it and he told her the wrong
I don't
pocket?
think he knew
No,
because he
couldn't
did
have.
cut his right hand man's
No, he
finger
did.
off,
No, he
tip off with
he
a
did know
cigar
because
cutter.
after that's when he puts the
Yeah.
Ethan Hunt mask on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
took-
he didn't know. He was trusting her. That's why he gets mad at his assistant and cuts the tip of his finger off with a cigar
Yeah,
cutter. He
yeah,
trusts
yeah.
her then, and then she does it, and then that's why he
That's
puts the
right,
mask
'cause
on
he
to prove
que-
it.
he-
So
they-
she's
they-
just a shitty thief.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
just bad and kind of was.
But did anybody else pop when it was Brendan Gleeson with Mad Eye Moody?
Oh yeah,
I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big time actor.
Most famous person in the world.
Most famous person in the world. Yeah, his movies keep getting bigger and bigger.
Wait till Simon Pegg shows up. I can tell you what he is.
I do think that, and I said Thandie Newton's a bad girl because there's a scene where somebody literally calls her bad girl. It's in quotes. What I did think was cool, the aspect of
When it ended.
Ethan Hunt. Yeah, well, not even that.
do it first.
The Ethan Hunt like battling his equal, someone that was actually kind of
somebody
equal
that was
to
good.
him.
Yeah, that. But like
And
the guy who played Sean Ambrose,
yeah, he was boring.
he sucked.
Yeah, he was just like he looked like
Thank
Chad.
God he was
so-
not Wolverine.
Yeah,
I know,
that's right. He turned down Wolverine for this
A
role,
lot
right?
of people turned down.
I
like,
know
movies.
everybody like wants us to talk about 2, but when we do eventually get to 3, what an upgrade of a villain.
Yeah,
three.
absolutely.
I'm not even gonna say who it is yet. I'm gonna make people wait or look it up on IMDb.
But anyway, yeah, the aspect of him dealing with his equal, I thought was pretty cool. I thought like that's a good villain. And then the rest of this shit, I'm just like, this is dumb. Like that the pigeons were so crucial to the end of the film.
I
And,
remember the pigeons.
and they
was
did
doves.
No, it was pigeons.
Oh,
Oh, when they're in the fucking
When they're in the
like,
cave.
bunker thing.
So
yeah.
they do a cool thing. Doo-doo. Pooping,
Crap, poop, shit, doo-doo.
pooping and shitting.
And then what was the crapping? Recrap.
Recrap. I mean, my recaps have been crappy anyway, so it is what it is. They do... an action that they partake in is tricking Brendan Gleeson's character into visiting a face-off version of the scientist who created the virus who's dead. Guys, I'm lost here.
He's the
I
other
don't know.
scientist, right?
Let's do it again. Do it again. Give me 30 seconds.
All right,
Hold on.
Let me get to the timer.
One major plot point that I hated in this movie. The only way to get this deadly virus out of one country to another is to inject it into yourself and also have the anti-serum. And then get it out of your blood and then give yourself the anti-serum.
Yep.
What the fuck? What if there's like a delay in the airport?
On a plane, you know,
just
that's
die?
something that's
There's
definitely
some-
not going to
there's
travel.
science.
I
Scientists.
forgot that part
What
of the movie.
fuck?
I forgot that part of the movie.
So stupid.
That's why this movie sucks.
And then Ethan Hunt's girlfriend is like,
But it
no, don't shoot him. Look, I'll inject myself with the deadly
it's just-
virus.
it's just
now
to
you need me.
It's just to show
So stupid.
that Ethan can do anything
So dumb.
that he puts his heart to.
Tom Cruise wants to be James Bond so bad.
He does.
But James Bond never climbed a rock.
There and that's
Cool
true.
sunglasses. James Bond doesn't wear it.
While Limp Bizkit was playing. Limp Bizkit never did a Bond song.
James Bond didn't wear cool sunglasses, I'm pretty sure.
James
until-
Bond does shit to Adele.
Yeah,
Be corny.
Limp Bizkit, awesome. Even though it was worth the
That's
stinker
so much
of the
more chill.
the stinker of the year.
Limp
One-
Bizkit, most famous guy in the Fred Durst, most famous guy in the world.
One thing that does work is when they break into the facility in China. Though it takes him forever to like to destroy the serums, the way that they break into the vault with him skydiving down like the fucking like fan chute or whatever.
This one's better than the first as far as like there's more action.
Yeah.
but
As we go.
The plot is
the plot
bonkers.
sucks.
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter.
And I like-
slow-mo.
Where are we at on the movie?
And I
The
did
horse
like,
race?
I did like that they were like, okay, this is his thing now. Like
Yeah, like
everyone
diving.
in the agency just goes, oh, you know, he's gonna climb through the roof.
I will say-
They're going the hardest way possible.
I will say, at the same time this movie came out, it's not that impressive because I saw the Grinch do it into a chimney.
He pitches that idea.
They
and
both
were
have
all like,
insane amount of upper body strength. Okay,
he pitches that idea, and Ving Rhames is like, "That's impossible. Nobody could do that." And he just like gets a marker and goes to a dry erase board. And he's like, right.
Yes, yeah, he
Wait,
is.
does he do the dry erase board in two too? He does it
Yeah.
on the window.
That's
in
where
three.
he's gonna base jump into their building.
I don't remember what.
they're all just looking at him like, here he goes again.
In 3, he does the window where he just traces the buildings.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really good work there, dude.
It was a dry erase board, but he was using a permanent
Well, the
marker.
bad
because he
guy
doesn't
showed
make
how
mistakes.
easy it is
Charlie
just
Day.
to walk past the security guard and just up to the top.
You can do whatever the fuck you want, man.
He's just like, I gotta go through.
All right,
there.
30 seconds.
Hold on. Before that, I have two more problems.
You wanted it.
I do want it. So
this up for
the end of the film it ends up being a motorcycle chase. There's two things that are weird as shit. There's one where Ethan's motorcycle Ethan's motorcycle's gas tank gets shot. Instead of blowing up, it just leaks gasoline. If it was reverse, that motorcycle would have blew the fuck up if it was a villain.
Yeah, if it was a bad guy.
It was like in 21 Jump Street where they keep shooting stuff that they think is gonna be like, whoa, what the hell?
And then the final showdown between Big Bad and Ethan, they charge their motorcycles at each other like they're jousting.
Motorcycle joust.
I'm
It
like,
makes
that's some
perfect sense
Fast
now.
and Furious bullshit.
perfect sense.
Motorcycle chase scenes or motorcycle anything are not cool. Because you have to slow down so much on the turns that like it doesn't seem impressive.
You know what's even
So-
worse? Even worse that Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett showed us is speeder.
Yeah, you might as well just be like chasing each other on bicycles.
Yeah, well, yeah, seriously. And then
Put him on a
as,
unicycle. Let me see what his balance is.
as Shane mentioned, Thandie Newton shoots herself with the virus.
No, it wasn't her. It was his wife.
Oh yes, yeah. The
Right? Wasn't
No,
it his
the
wife?
doctor.
no, it's
the
Is it
doctor.
Thandie Newton?
Is
It's
it the
Thandie
third movie
Newton.
where he's got a wife?
yeah.
So the doctor does. The scientist does it. Gets in the airplane.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have spread, I guess.
Yeah, I guess not.
And then she does it to just piss them off. Pretty
So-
much.
So
Yeah,
they show it again.
It's in your blood, but it's not airborne somehow.
Yeah, I think they want it in her blood to be able to maybe synthesize it after she
They
gets
wanna
the
take
end
it
of
out
it.
of
But
the
if it's
blood.
in his blood, can he pass it to other people? Like if he sneezes or something? I don't understand how this fucking virus works.
Shane, I don't know.
I'm not.
You're asking reasonable questions. I don't know.
But you're not asking reasonable questions because nobody at this table is a fucking like top doctor in Australia or wherever the fuck that Russian guy was doing this. They created a virus, Shane. Do you think any of us know how to create a virus?
I'm just asking questions that the writer should have asked.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Let me ask you guys a question that has nothing to do with anything Mission Impossible related.
But they show her at the end.
Okay, quick genetics question.
They show her at the end shooting herself again, like you forgot it happened. Because my note is it literally just happened.
Yeah.
We all know why she's about to die.
It would have only been 15 minutes ago.
All right,
They
so
didn't do 25
all right,
slow-mos.
we gotta get through these movies. Give me the timer, and I will wrap up the end of the movie.
We're done. No, no timer.
No, come on, give me the timer.
Nobody fucking cares.
Give me the timer.
You got 10 seconds this time.
Okay, ready?
When I start
talking.
going.
All right, ready? They have a buyer. They meet up. Ethan stops it, injects himself. Danny Newton does it. They save the day. Bad guy dies.
Did it in 5.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, it's not worth it this time around.
No,
Let's
it's not.
go to 3.
Guys, I'm sorry we're not doing our great job at this, but
No, we're doing a fantastic job. Our conversation right now is a billion times more interesting than the actual movie itself because the movie stinks.
the movie is really bad. Hey everyone, just so we're all clear, it's RP here interjecting. I wanted to just better recap the ending of Mission Impossible 2. So basically, the bad guy meets up with Brendan Gleeson, who's the head of the pharmaceutical company. He says, we're going to give you the cure for the virus, and then you're going to sign over your company, like $30 million plus stock options, so that way the bad guys are going to release the virus, and then they'll profit off the cure. Which there's one of the virus vials left. Thandie Newton shoots herself with it. So then obviously now it's a chase down for the cure, and it leads to Ethan versus the bad guy in a ton of slow-mo on a beach, and it's like one single vial, and Ethan ends up getting it, throwing it to Luther, and then Luther helps, and Luther's Ving Rhames takes it to the city so it gets mass-produced, and Thandie Newton saved, and then it ends with them in a park with Bob mentioned about the fire, the guy throwing fire. But that wraps up Mission Impossible 2. We kind of just brushed through it really quick. But before, like, Tom Cruise and the bad guy are having their final showdown, there's like a face mask reveal where Tom Cruise is actually the bad guy's sidekick in a face mask, and the bad guy's sidekick has a broken jaw but has a face mask on as Tom Cruise, and they end up killing him. So that's like a cool twist that happens. But yeah, it's basically the end of Mission Impossible 2. Now back to Mission Impossible 3. Thumbs down from me. Nick?
Thumbs down. If I saw this when it came out the first, I would have said, I do not need to see another one of these movies.
Bob?
I'm trying to think of something mean to say. It just was bad. I don't know.
And Shane?
If this movie was a snowball and it was in hell,
It wouldn't stand
it would have a thumbs down.
It would have a thumbs down. All right, so I had said to the guys, you just got to power through Mission Impossible 2 to get to Mission Impossible 3. I said 3 is basically a soft reboot. It helps. It's a better film. Here's the summary of Mission Impossible 3.
Oh, shit, we have another one to do?
Super spy. I know, that's what I'm saying. Super spy Ethan Hunt is retired from
You're
active.
the one that keeps like going on with it. We could have been done 2 in 5 minutes.
I know.
The movie stinks. Oh no, we're not done 2. Fuck! I got to show you guys this clip.
All right,
The
well,
end of the movie. All right, it's one quick like video that I need to show you guys. The end of Mission Impossible 2. This was the last note that I had. Right, this is the final scene. I'm showing them this scene right now.
His hair is wild,
His
man.
hair stinks. They cut to them walking through a park, right, at the end, like in Sydney, Australia. And there's just a guy. There's 2 guys just juggling fire in the park with a bunch of, like, kids around. there's just 2 guys
Carnival
in the middle of the park. Yeah, but it's not like they're doing a show. No. They're just in the middle of a bunch of people juggling fire.
so the reason I say that 3 is a soft reboot, because anything that came before it, they do not mention at all. And I feel like they do start to do that in like 4. Like the characters keep appearing. You said Vim Rain, or no, he was in this one, but he dates Thandie Newton at the end. They're not together. So all right, we're gonna skip ahead to Mission Impossible 3. Super spy Ethan Hunt is retired from active duty to train new IMF agents, but he's called back into action to confront the toughest villain he's ever faced, Owen Davian. played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, as an international weapons and information provider with no remorse and no conscience. Hunt assembles his team, his old friends Luther Strickwell, transportation expert Declan, and background operative Zen. They are to rescue one of his very own trainees, Lindsay, who was played by the Toit Kerry Russell, who was kidnapped while on a surveillance detail of Davian. It soon becomes evident that Davian is well protected, well connected, and downright malicious. This forces Hunt to extend his journey back into the field in order to rescue his fiancée Julia and uncover IMF double agents in the process. The film was released May 5th, 2006, 6 years after the last one. On a budget of $165 million, it grossed $398.5 million, lowest of the franchise. It was the 12th highest grossing movie of 2006. Rotten Tomatoes, critical score 71, audience 69. Nice. New cast members are Kerry Russell, my boy Billy Cudrup, Lawrence Fishburne, Simon Pegg, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. And it's scored by the local legend, Michael Giacchino.
I think I texted you during this movie. What a cast.
It's a great cast.
Holy shit.
It's a great cast.
If Philip Seymour Hoffman was alive, probably the most famous guy in the world.
Probably.
Yeah, he got it. Yeah.
But at the time, when filming began development in 2002, he definitely was. But David Fincher was attached to direct, and this was supposed to release in
Who directed
2004.
this one? I think you said it, but I missed it.
I haven't said it yet.
Okay.
However, Fincher dropped out over creative differences. Then somebody else replaced him, and they began working on the project. This director, Joe Carnahan, who did The A-Team and Smoking Aces, worked on the film
The
for
new
about...
A-Team he did?
Yeah.
That tracks. Okay.
He developed this film for 15 months, and then eventually left. The film he was developing, though, had Kenneth Branagh as the villain, and Carrie Ann Moss...
Still would have been good.
Still would have been good. Carrie Ann Moss, who played Naomi in The Matrix, she would have been in it, and Scarlett Johansson also would have been in the film as well. And Ricky Gervais was cast as Simon Pegg's character, Benjamin Dunn, but had to leave due to delays for his film For Your Consideration, and he was replaced by Pegg. That director at the time, Carnahan...
Really typecast in that role. Needed a
Carnahan.
He was replaced and pegged.
by John Voight.
Exit the...
Most famous kind of well.
He exited the project in July 2004 over issues with the tone of the film, so Cruise then hired a favorite among ours, J.J. Abrams, to direct the film. After Cruise binged 2 seasons of Alias. Due to obligations with Alias and Lost, Abrams couldn't begin working on the film, and that delayed the movie to 2006. Cruise took a major pay cut to get this made, and filming began in July 12, 2005, until October. Filming took place in China, Italy, Vatican City, Germany, and the U.S. Now, a big thing of our Jurassic Park franchise is we talked a lot about the marketing of the film. So, to promote the film, Paramount rigged 4,500 randomly selected LA Times vending boxes. So those boxes where you put the quarters in, get the magazine, with digital audio players inside of them, which would play the theme song when the door was open. The audio players did not always stay concealed, though. So in many cases, they came loose and fell on top of a stack of newspapers in plain sight, with the result that they were widely mistaken for bombs. So police bomb squads were detonating like a bunch of these vending boxes. So they even temporarily...
All in L.A. too?
They even temporarily shut down a veterans hospital in response to this apparent threat.
So all those vending boxes self-destructed in 5 seconds?
Yeah, they said despite these problems, Paramount and the LA Times opted to leave the audio players in the boxes until 2 days before the movie opened.
Like, fuck the bomb squads.
It's still funny.
This is a good bit. We stand by it.
We gotta stay by the vending boxes.
What year did this movie come out?
2006, so after 9/11, yeah.
Imagine it was like 2002.
All right, so the big one, Nick, is me and Nick have mentioned this, that there is a South Park fiasco with this film. So rumors were reported on the major celebrity business and news channels like TMZ and shit like that Cruise threatened to not promote Mission Impossible 3 if Viacom, who owns Comedy Central, didn't pull the rerun of an episode of South Park called Trapped in the Closet, which is the one where they make fun of Scientology and Tom Cruise. So South Park fans then reiterated that they threatened to boycott Mission Impossible 3 if the episode wasn't scheduled to rerun. So Cruise claims that he had nothing to do with this, but the rerun happened to be pulled and replaced with another episode of the show that was like featured chef, who this was right after Isaac Hayes passed, who was also a Scientologist. But South Park creators didn't believe that, and they released a satirical statement that they were servants to the Dark Lord Xenu, which then I wrote. I guess he's a Scientology bad guy. I just read up on Scientology. People actually believe this shit. It's whack. It's like a knockoff Star Trek.
He's like the god, isn't he? He's not the bad guy.
Xenu is
I
the guy?
don't know.
Or maybe he is the
Let me
bad
see what I
guy
can
or
find.
something.
Xenu.
Hold on, let me see what I can figure out.
I'm in. Bob, you have 2 minutes
Yeah.
to get us the answer.
All right, I am.
So I really have
all right.
one.
I've hacked the Scientology data mainframe.
All right.
I think I understand it now.
So, unlike the first 2 films where we took some time to go over some of the plot, I'm going to quick do the plot of the film, as I already did in the summary, that basically Ethan's out of the IMF field, but he's an agent in their training facilities. And he's out of the field. He's got a fiance and everything like that. So he's doing great. And even we get a Snap Wexley in this, which is J.J. Abrams' friend, who was the character Snap Wexley in Star Wars. He was in this.
Who was he?
He was just a guy at their. He was just a guy at the party.
He was at the party. Yeah. I saw him and forgot that he was J.J. Abrams.
So I had a lot of good things to say about this film. I liked this movie quite a bit.
right,
I thought that.
Hold on a second. I gotta give you guys a rundown on Xenu real fast.
It's like Star Trek, right?
Take us to church,
So-
Bob.
This episode's going to get pulled.
Yeah. So
Come for us.
Xenu is a figure in the Church of Scientology's secret advanced technology, a sacred and esoteric teaching. According to the technology, Xenu, also whoever wrote this on Wikipedia, which is what I'm reading, the commas go inside the quotation marks, so stop. It's bothering me. They're putting them outside. According to the technology, Xenu was the extraterrestrial ruler.
Hold on. Nick has been drinking free beer all night and was just handed it a beer, and he
I
was like,
wanted to
"What the
see the
fuck? It's a
can."
Budweiser."
I wanted to see the can.
I'm drinking Budweiser because they had the Phillies logo, and I'm
The
a-
Skyliner.
and I was admiring the can.
Is that
Yeah,
the
and this-
actual Skyliner. It looks just.
Yeah, I could see
looks
the
like
building
random
I work
buildings.
in.
It is a really cool can.
It's an
Oh,
awesome
okay.
can.
It goes off of the. I only saw it on the white part of the can, and I was that's not right. And then when you go to the side, you can see.
it's a really
Anyway,
nice can.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're good.
Continue.
This is the sentence that matters. According to the technology, Xenu was the extraterrestrial ruler of a galactic confederacy who brought billions of his people to Earth, then known as TGAC, in DC-8-like spacecraft 75 million years ago, stacked them around volcanoes, and killed them with hydrogen bombs.
Yep. This is what I mean. This is the shit Tom Cruise believes. And it's like, how can you take this man seriously? This shit's stupid.
Hold on. The Church of Scientology normally only reveals the Xenu story to members who have completed a lengthy sequence of courses costing large amounts of money.
Oh, so Tom Cruise is just like he's a Scientology version of just Easter and Christmas, where he just goes on like he doesn't go deep, right?
No, Tom Cruise would know this stuff. He's like the face of Scientology. They would pay for those courses for him.
Who spilled the beans? And
That's what. How did this get out?
How does South Park know this?
True. Good point.
Did Isaac Hayes tell them?
I don't know.
So what did we not know?
Somebody spilled the
This
beans.
is what got leaked out.
All right, we don't got time for this. This is a whole podcast.
30 seconds.
We're
Give us the whole plot.
Next episode is recapping the whole book of
And this
Scientology.
is the movie that we actually all like. Like,
Yeah, this is the
one
best.
We should talk about.
This is definitely the best one of the three. I think this is a more modern day action movie.
Yes.
What we've come to expect from big
Remind
franchises.
us of the plot, because I kind of forget.
Okay, so the plot again. I'll give you the quick summary. Basically, Ethan's out of the field. He's got basically in real life.
Right.
He's
Okay,
he's
yeah.
training.
I was
and his-
getting a beer when you were saying this.
Got it. His number one protege has been captured by
Yes,
Philip Seymour
Kerry
Hoffman.
Russell.
He's got
Kerry
to.
Russell.
He's got to
So
save her.
we see that the film starts off and we see that Ethan's enjoying normal life with his attractive fiance. And Snap Wexley shows up, and Aaron Paul also shows up
Yes.
as the brother-in-law. Then we get my boy Billy Crudup. I fucking love Billy Crudup. Who's working with the IMF and is like, hey,
He's his boss.
we need your help. You got to go save
Lawrence
Kerry.
Fishburne.
You got to go save Kerry Russell.
Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, Dr. Manhattan.
There's not another R in his name though.
and
It's just Crudup.
Crudup.
Kudrup. I used to call him Krudrup.
Crudup.
Yeah, and then he was in one of my favorite movies of all time, Almost Famous, as Russell Hammond.
And he's Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan. And
he hangs dong.
He hangs down.
he does hang dong. And there's
Not John Voight dong.
not John Voight dong. It's
That's
blue dong.
expensive, most famous dong in the world.
It's the best blue dong aside from Avatar. And he's in a show on Apple TV.
Was he the most
that
famous man in the world when his blue dong was shown?
He was that
He
that
was-
year.
That
year.
year he
He
was.
has 15 minutes. I think.
And he was Barry Allen's dad in Zack Snyder's movies.
Oh, yeah, it was.
But
That masterpiece.
he's a fantastic actor. And
If
in
he
this
was in
show,
that, if his dong was in that movie, it would have been in slow motion.
it would have been. He's in this movie, this TV show called on Apple TV called The Morning Show. It's very whatever, but he's fantastic in it.
Okay.
He's fantastic.
That show is like praised, I thought.
I can. You want my mom to come on to
Season
talk
one,
about this show?
I will say,
She's a big fan.
Season 1 was really good. Season 2 sucked.
All right, season 1, I think,
said the
because
same
that was like
thing.
the original
She said
Apple
the same
TV
thing.
show.
I remember you
I'll
being-
put the invitation out.
I remember
for her
you
to
being
come
really
on
into
talk
this
about
show.
I was because I signed
And then
up.
to say it's whatever.
I
But it's also like
I
Jennifer
signed-
Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, Steve Carell, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then
That's a
Billy
cast.
Crudup.
That's a
Like,
cast.
yeah, that was the big like flagship Apple TV show.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're gonna put out a good product.
That's one
They,
hell of a
they
cast.
invested a shit ton of money and it ended up the one they took a chance on. Ted Lasso ended up being Apple's biggest
Yeah.
show, like the one they didn't invest that much money in. So, but the first season, I loved the first season. I signed up for Raven's Banquet and I ended up watching the morning show more, and I liked that a lot. But Billy Crudup's in it, he's fantastic. So when he was in this one, I was pumped because it was kind of around the same time
Yeah.
I was watching stuff.
I saw his name on the opening credits. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
cool, because I do like him as
yeah,
well.
he's good.
I was going through the IMDb to see who was in this movie, and I was like, I know this guy from something. I was
Yeah.
like, I saw his dong.
He's got a nice dick.
the
So
most famous man in the world.
so
Most
just
famous dick in
when
the world.
just when Ethan Hunt got out, they pulled him back in, and he has to go save Kerry Russell. In my notes, I put still tweet.
Just like Godfather 3, this is the best of the original trilogy.
And then I just put another mission revolved around another woman.
Yes. Another mission that,
It was
if
impossible.
we're being honest, seemed impossible up front.
But he had the impossible mission force.
He did.
He did.
Which I do like at the end of the film when
She,
he
like,
when
laughs.
He,
Yeah.
she like laughs at the name, and I was like, all right, that's
Yeah,
good.
he's like, I'm part of MIF, the IMF, the Impossible Mission Force, and she's like, you're lying. It's like, that's dumb.
So this movie starts off with
He basically said, I'm part of the cool guys club,
Yeah.
you know?
so this
That's it,
movie
it's
starts
interesting.
off with an action scene that would have ended the last two. Like they really did up the ante,
Mm-hmm.
got things bigger, better. Like there's the big the mission scene where they're in this helicopter chase with the bomb, and they're trying to defuse the bomb
With
that's in
Carrie, I
Kerry
was
Russell's
thinking,
head.
I was like, doesn't this movie start off with like, oh, no,
Him being
this
interrogated.
movie, the pacing at the beginning of this movie confused the shit out
I
of me.
thought one of you was watching the
Yes.
movie, and
Yeah.
it started. I
So
was like,
it-
what's
that
going
too.
on?
It starts with an interrogation
Yeah.
that happens at the end of the movie.
I
Then
thought-
it cuts to...
Oh yes, because it opens up with
and
Philip
then
Seymour
and then
Hoffman.
there's already a team established. I thought I was very confused at the beginning of this movie. The whole beginning, my note was the pacing of this movie is weird, and I feel confused.
I was also confused because it starts off, and like Nick said, I thought somebody was already watching
Yeah.
the movie, and I like jumped in the middle of it.
It's
I'm
Tom
like,
Cruise screaming like,
I had to-
"Don't do it! Don't do it!"
I had to go back and check, and I'm like, oh, this really is the start of the movie.
And
Yeah,
Philip
once
Seymour
they
Hoffman-
cut to the string like
Yeah.
diamond or something was like on fire or a match. I was like, oh, this is the beginning.
Well,
of
I
the
knew it
movie.
was the beginning, but then like when they went, so then I think it cuts to the party, right? That's a strong stream for RP.
heavy stream.
Yeah, RP's taking a nice piss right now. I hope he leaves this in the
RP, cut that,
podcast.
cut that,
Don't
cut
cut
that.
it because we can hear the fire hose that's going. off the
RP's got the
right
healthiest, the most
Yeah.
famous prostate I've ever heard.
now. Most famous prostate in the world. But yeah, so then they cut to the engagement party.
Hey, when you're hung like Dr. Manhattan.
They cut to the engagement
RP, leave that
party,
in.
and then then Billy Crudup calls Tom Cruise. He has to go to like a gas station, basically, gets a camera, gets his mission, and then they're in Germany.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, did I miss something? There's a whole team already. Did I miss something here? What happened? But they just went straight to the mission.
And it was already better. I thought it was already so much like cooler
It
than
was
the
just
last
the pacing
ones.
was
Yeah.
just like I thought that like you said, I thought somebody else was watching, or like it was skipping a scene, or there was something wrong with the stream.
It picks up like you're in the middle of a movie.
Because every other movie, I used to expected it to follow the same pattern, and it's always like introduce these team members. Then there's like the weird conversation stuff where like you get to know, he's the jokester.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was weird that he was being interrogated, not like scuba diving or like climbing a rock. Or
Yeah, he
something.
wasn't climbing a rock.
He wasn't doing anything rad.
No.
No, he was just taking out the trash and remembering a park or a lake at the. I also like that his job is he's in charge of public transportation.
Yeah.
That's his fake.
And she's like clearly like sniffing the bullshit. Like she's like, something's. Ethan, just be honest with me. And he's like,
She's like, you're too handsome.
that's
Well,
what
no,
he
that's
for
later.
that.
But like when
No, in the beginning,
when
they're
they-
like he can read their lips and like answers them from afar. They're like, "What is it?" But you
Yeah.
always like the bad boys or something. They're
Yo,
like,
he's
yeah.
a hot boy.
he's a hot boy. Yeah. So they go and they have to rescue her, and they have this mini MRI machine that I thought was cool. And they just like saw the bomb in her nose that blew up her head. Carrie Russell dies. Spoiler alert. But then we see Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne.
killing it with the zingers and
Dude,
this
he
meeting.
roasted those guys.
I-
My note is Lawrence Fishburne is roasting. It was Ethan Hunt and Billy Crudup, and
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne is just going in on
it's-
both of them with just
This could have been the whole
one-liners.
movie, and I would have enjoyed it.
First quote that I wrote down from movie
See,
3.
already more enjoyable than
Oh,
the
this
last
is-
two.
Yes, 100%. First quote that I wrote down from the third movie of multiple quotes is Lawrence Fishburne. I don't remember what the initial line was, but something about like that's unacceptable. And Lawrence Fishburne goes, "It's unacceptable that chocolate makes you fat, but I've eaten my share."
That was the one I went, Mom's going to find that hilarious.
Yes,
Like,
you're
this
right.
is Mom's.
There's more quotes. We'll get there when we get there. There was a lot
But
of.
the reason they did what they did was because she was the first student he was proud of.
Well, we'll get to it.
Yeah, the first one
she
that
was-
he was proud of.
he was
Which
so
makes
proud
you think,
of her.
like, how many people did Ethan Hunt train?
Oh, he says she's the first one he recommended for
and
the
not, and
field.
not recommend for the field. It's
like-
what did you think? Like, if I'm training these field operatives and I have 50 field operatives, and after 49, I haven't recommended one to actually go into the field,
gonna
wouldn't
stop.
you be like, hey, we're not going to let you train these guys anymore because clearly you're not doing a good enough job?
And then somebody takes a poop on his desk.
Crap, turd.
Turd. So basically, he used this plot and put it into Top Gun Maverick
To an extent.
to an extent.
Yeah.
Both same companies, Paramount. Okay, moving on.
And then Simon Pegg shows up too.
That's what I said.
Can we
First
get back
appearance.
to all these great
And
quotes
then I
that he
did.
says this,
I,
in this beating?
I did say.
I kind of want to look the scene up. That's the only one I wrote down. But he roasts.
I
Do
said
you remember
Luke-
any of them?
He,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
the one he goes and I laugh at, he was like, "This is Department of Special Intelligence, and I'm not seeing much intelligence."
I think that's where I wrote. He's roasting these guys. I haven't seen intelligence
And then-
once.
But that's like what Lawrence Fishburne like does so
And
well.
then, what was he? One
He's so
was,
good at that shit.
That and look in two different directions at the same
The
time.
guy goes to answer him a question. He goes,
Does he have a lazy eye?
No. That's
thinking
not
of
Lawrence
somebody
Fishburne.
else?
That's
Am I
the guy
Lawrence
who plays
Fishburne-
That's Saul Guerrero.
Saul Guerrero. Yeah, what's his name?
Lawrence
Not Lawrence
Fishburne. No, Lawrence
The guy who plays
Fishburne
Saul
is
Guerrero.
from The Matrix. He's
Yeah.
the one.
And John
Or
Wick.
no,
he's
he's,
cool in John Wick too.
He's who the fuck is he in? What's his name?
He's
Morpheus.
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 What's his name?
This is embarrassing.
Who's the guy that plays Saul Guerrero?
Fucking. Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker.
He looks too different.
Lawrence
I'm
Fishburne's
so
also in
embarrassed
John
right
Wick
now.
What's
too.
Forrest Whitaker's line that we were quoting all the time after Rogue One came
Save
out?
the rebellion. Save the dream. The worst fucking Star Wars character. I fucking hate
Yeah,
that
but
guy.
we quoted that all the time afterwards. We just kept yelling at each other because it was funny. You had to do it in that voice, which sounds like my voice all the time.
Save the rebellion. Save the dream.
Who said Rogue One's their favorite Star Wars movie because he dies?
Shanks did. Saul Guerrero, now Forrest Whitaker. But
Yeah.
Saul Guerrero gets so
He
annoying
stinks,
throughout
man.
in Clone Wars and everything else that you haven't like.
Does he have a
seen
lazy
all-
eye in
He
Clone
should
Wars?
now, but he's just like, it's like, dude, stop. You're being so over the top. Like, just let these people live their lives. But
Okay.
yeah, so then they get in trouble because the mission goes terribly.
Yeah.
That's
Terry
when
Russell
Lawrence
dies.
Get their
Fishburne,
roast,
roast him, and the Dravian, or however you say
Davian.
Philip Seymour Hoffman, he gets away, and Lawrence Fishburne basically says like, I've been chasing this guy for years and years and years.
Yeah, and
he
you just
keeps
fucked it up.
escaping.
Like, this was his first, like, as soon as he got in this department.
Yeah.
Same to Ethan Hunt.
And he's
you
like,
really haven't
yeah.
completed your one
It's his,
job.
it's his
You
white
haven't-
buffalo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's like, you're giving him more confidence. Yeah. He said at one point, he goes, he's an invisible man. Wells, not Emerson or whoever wrote The Invisible Man.
Oh, yeah. I read that.
Ralph Waldo. No, not Ralph Waldo.
It's not Ralph
Emerson.
Waldo. No, he's a poet, right?
Yeah, he's white.
Was it Orson Welles? Did he
Orson
write?
Welles wrote like the sci-fi one.
I read the original one for school, and it was very boring.
That was
Ralph Ellison. But he's like, he goes, Wells, not Ellison, before you say anything. And I was like, I don't think that they were going to like make a comment about the Invisible Man.
He's showing that he's scholarly.
Oh, dude. Also in the interrogation, I loved when he goes, Mr. Musgraves, please don't interrupt me when I'm asking rhetorical questions.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, he fucking hammers him.
As Jason Momoa did the entire Fast X, Lawrence Fishburne feasted on this role.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I'm curious about Fast X a little bit. What, you got another one?
No, the one where she just chuckles. Shut up.
Shut up. Yeah.
I am.
I got to see an early screening of Fast X, and I'll talk to you all about it.
So then Ethan's like, I gotta go get this guy, right? And so he tells his wife he's got to leave for 2 days.
So
This is the worst written scene in all three of the films.
She's like, tell me, right?
Tell me it's real.
Yeah.
Is the quote that I said the emotional scene with Ethan and his wife is awfully written. So it's like this dude just said, I gotta go to Houston on business. You run public transportation.
Yeah,
it
what are
doesn't
you
make
doing?
sense. He leaves for a day, right?
But she questioned it, and that's what I like.
Then he comes back. He tells her that in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Then he comes back and he goes, I got to go away on business for 2 days. They're supposed to be getting married. This is not a healthy relationship.
Didn't he tell that right after they fucked? Wasn't he like?
No,
she
that
was
happens afterwards.
They were
He
just
gets called
so
in the
then he
middle of the night.
goes, I'm leaving for 2 days on business. I can't tell you where I'm going or what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right? And her response isn't like to get mad and be like, what the fuck, you're lying to me. Her response is to say, tell me this is real.
Yeah.
Like, that's so fucking... Who the fuck would say that?
But I do like that she's
Then he
like,
goes, let's get married right now.
she's not a...
It's
yeah.
real.
Oh, yeah,
It's real.
yeah.
And then they fuck.
But she's not a complete dummy. Like, she's like, all right, I get this. Because that's a stupid trope that works. Because if you live with somebody and you're living a double life, they're going to fucking figure out that something's up. And I don't understand why this is a trope. Because it doesn't work.
But I just don't understand why, like... Her response isn't to be mad at him for living a double life because it's clear that he is.
Yeah.
Her response is to go, tell me it's real.
I'm just saying because
You're living with him. You're engaged to him. It's not like you just started dating.
Yeah, because I can't even search like incognito mode without Audra asking like what's going on. So like
I just remembered the scene
I don't
where
understand why it doesn't work.
He got the phone call where he's got to go to the gas station, and
Yeah.
he takes the ice outside and like dumps it.
Yeah, he's
Like he just had that one little tiny bucket of ice for the whole party.
And he's gone, but also, he was
It was a
dumping the ice, and now he's gone for an hour.
it was like your brother-in-law Chris situation where he had a whole party and just got one case of beer. He's like, yeah, 2 beers a person, right?
Diaper party, right? Yeah, I forgot about that.
That is a true,
the whole
real
diaper party
story.
situation was like,
2 beers a
if you've
person.
never done a diaper party, it's for like the guy when they're having a kid. Everybody brings a box of diapers, and the concept is that the host provides beer and food. And so my brother-in-law had a bunch of food. I'll give him credit. He did have a bunch of food for people, but he bought like 1 case of Yingling.
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, like
He
luckily
did.
we all always bring our own beer to everything.
Yeah.
Like, I knew he was supposed to have beer, but like I always have like beer
And then
anyway.
we called our friend.
And then we
like,
told everybody else, like, yeah, bring a case.
But he did have this awesome lobster, like seafood sausage. Like, do you remember that? It was like shrimp and lobster, like
I'm
sausage.
saying, like, he did have the food, but yeah, he bought 1 case. I was like, dude, you're supposed to have beer. He's like, and like he knew he fucked up, and he was
Yeah.
like, what? There's only like 13 guys here. That's like 2 beers a guy.
And it was like Coda, which was good stuff, but
What, Chris, what are you talking about? Like 2 an hour?
yeah.
I can picture him saying that too. It's so funny.
So, like you said, but I did think that the emotion in this one was done really well compared to the last 2. So the
And there
reason,
was like, so the only thing that did bother me with this is that like, and I don't know what happens going forward. Each of the movies, it's like Bond, where he has like a girl in each movie that like is somebody. The one is a cuck situation. The next one is kind of the reverse cuck situation where
Yeah.
he's like, "Hey, go fuck the dude that you used to fuck."
Yeah.
Because we gotta keep our cover. And now this one, he's married, and I'm just like, or he's getting married, and then he gets married. And I'm just, it's all about saving his wife. And in my head, I'm like, she better be in the next 3 fucking movies, or like this doesn't matter anymore, because I know that this is the franchise. So I don't know what happens with that. It just doesn't. If he's gonna be James Bond, he wants to be James Bond so bad. Getting married just didn't seem like a logical choice for that character.
I can tell you that I don't remember if she's.
I looked
in
up,
forward.
and I don't think she's in 4. But there's a character who's like Julie's friend.
She makes an appearance in one.
That's
of
what
the
I mean.
next
Like that's
three.
why I think they're still married, but she's probably not in the films.
Shit. Like Natalie Portman in the MCU, she just like disappears for no reason.
Well, basically. So
I want 4 to be like it turns into like a Modern Family where it's just like he's living his normal life and he gets a call. He's like, all right, babe, gotta go kill a bunch of people. I'll be back in a couple days. And like she just lives with it.
Do you remember that the smaller guy who used to like mouth the words to like rap songs? He's like, do you remember that?
Yes.
The way you were just acting reminded me of that guy.
I have no idea what you're talking
R.I.P.
about.
to that guy.
Is he dead?
I think so.
Oh my God! Change the topic. I'll show you when we're done, and I'll post it on the socials. So back to the movie. So this is where the film really kicks off. They are after the rabbit's foot, which equals high tech.
Not yet.
Not yet. I thought this is when they go to the Vatican. Aren't they after
Yeah,
the
but they're
rabbit's
not
foot?
after the they're also after the guy.
They're after Davy and Philip Seymour Hoffman. So this is when things I think in the film really ramp up.
No,
the movie gets fucking
You're missing
good.
the weirdest line in the movie right
Which
before
part?
this is when Vin Rames asks him, he's like, what's you with this girl? He goes, I trained her. She's like a sister to me.
Oh, Kerry Russell.
And he's
oh,
like,
yeah.
do you sleep with your little sister? And he goes,
He's
hey,
like,
hey, brother.
somebody's got to ask.
Yeah, if no one's going to ask, but I'm that guy.
Yeah, because he's
And
like,
that's you.
that's
You're
you.
that
You're
guy.
that guy.
Vin Rames consistently has the best lines in every movie
Not
he's
in
in.
this one.
Yeah, that's true.
Lawrence Fishburne took it.
Lawrence
It's unacceptable. The chocolate makes you fat.
That is a very weird scene because he's like, why are you so like not Ethan just not being a good guy wanting to get revenge. He's like, did you fuck this girl or like no? He's like, no, I got my own side piece at home.
He could
and then
have
Vin
said-
Rames is like, you know, commitment isn't really for our
we
life.
can't get married. Everybody in this movie is all about like how he can't get married.
And he's like, I just got married yesterday.
Congratulations.
He could have asked that question so much differently.
Yeah, he
Do
absolutely.
you fuck your little sister?
Yeah.
What the, what?
Hey, and then like
And Ethan Hunt's like, I'm an only child. My parents were in prison a couple years ago.
Somebody wrote that line.
Oh yeah,
and
they
then,
said his parents died too. I was like, I hope they didn't die in jail.
Oh, really? I
So-
don't remember them saying that.
They got released in the end of the first
They
one.
did
You
get
see them
released.
get
they-
released.
It was
Everything
just a
gets
slight
fixed.
mix-up, you know.
Two different farmers.
Yeah.
somebody wrote the line, "Did you fuck your little sister?" And then in a room full of writers, they pitched it, and they're all like, "Yeah."
All right. So if we're gonna talk about
That's it.
if
That's
we're,
the line.
if we're gonna talk about that, then let's just go to the Vatican, right? So the Vatican scene
I
is
know
very
the line
cool.
you're going to
So
say.
this
Vatican
is
scene
where
very cool.
this is where the movie picks up, and we see the first face printing. This is when these face reveals mass.
Before we get to that,
I'm sorry.
They go
I know
outside
the
of the
line.
Vatican. There's a big wall, and they stop a car. They
Oh,
break
yeah.
they break the car down so that Ethan Hunt can climb the wall and get into the Vatican. And when he gets to the top of the wall, he says, "Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall."
No,
and then just rolls off, and then he gets off the wall.
But they just
I went back and watched it again. Like, did I miss that? He literally is by himself. He's not even talking to another character.
All
he
right,
gets
well-
to the top of the wall. He goes, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. and then he measures
Well-
how far it is to the ground.
You didn't-
does
did
that
you
like
miss that part?
rappel thing.
I did remember. Well,
Hold on.
Thank you guys
I thought you looked up the video. No. Oh, I'll look it up right now.
Thank
Yeah.
you guys for listening. I can't continue with this. After
We
that.
can't support this film anymore.
We can't support this franchise. No, I didn't. If he did say that, I just missed it. Like that's all.
Because it is such a throwaway thing, but if you like hear it, you just go, wait,
Like
what?
what the fuck? Jesus Christ.
Hold on.
Because all this action's happening, and then he says something like this.
Bob pulled up receipts.
We do not own the rights. Oh, that's a classic thing where they blur
they loop
the
the camera or
They
something.
loop it.
Don't they loop it in like the first one?
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
I lost it.
Tom.
Spikes the camera
Yeah.
and goes, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
I didn't have subtitles on when I watched, and I missed that.
And you know what? I did feel like when I was rewatching this one, I missed something. Like, and that's what I missed.
We're we're not done with quotes. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
no,
I have a couple more.
All right, so the reason they're heading to the Vatican is because there's some situation there, and Philip Seymour Hoffman
He's gonna be there.
They know he's going to be there.
Simon Pegg was able to get some information.
Yes, Simon Pegg was able to get some information with his chickeny checkeny. And so they do a really cool scene. This is where they show you the device that prints the face mask. And so they have Zen kind of lure Philip Seymour Hoffman into the bathroom.
This is where Hubba Hubba happened, by the way. She's driving a super
Lamborghini,
fancy
right?
car, and she's in the super hot dress.
It's
she,
like the-
gets out of the car in slow motion, and it's like.
And this is
like
a party.
I
At
don't
the,
care
and this
about
is a
cars.
party at the Vatican.
Yeah,
and she's
I'm not a car guy. I
No,
really could care less.
me either.
When there's a very attractive person in a movie driving like a really nice exotic car, I don't know. It's like I don't know what it is. It's like when girls wear like sports jerseys. It just bumps them up.
Yeah.
Like it makes
Imagine
them more
that same
attractive to me.
scene. Super hot girl pulls up in like a Kia Soul.
Yeah, like, she's in like fucking.
I'd be fine with
what are
that.
the ones from the Italian Job? What are, like the
Yeah, like
Mini
the-
Cooper.
yeah, she's in a Mini Cooper. I wouldn't do it for me. His team members in this just speak every language
Yeah.
fluently, which is impressive.
Which is
She pulls up in a Honda,
Makes sense.
Honda
So-
Pilot.
So she really wants to get to know Philip Seymour Hoffman, but she accidentally spills wine on
Red
him,
wine.
and it's like, "Come back to my hotel room." And so he has to go into the bathroom to change.
She doesn't say that yet.
No.
Classic movie trope.
Oh.
Yeah.
You accidentally spill white wine or red
So,
wine on somebody.
the-
He
And
gets
the-
real mad. He goes, "I always spill red wine on my custom-made shirts."
Yeah.
That's what Philip Seymour Hoffman says. He's all mad.
So they get him into the bathroom, and the bodyguard sent outside, and this is when they print the face mask, which is cool to see, like how they do it and paint and everything. And then so Tom Cruise puts it on, and then needs about 30 seconds for the
There's
voice.
also a scene, which is a really cool, like shot scene, where he's talking to Ving Rhames about getting married. That's
Yeah.
when he says, "I just got married."
Yeah.
He says, "Congratulations." Where it starts with like the face mask being real loose on his face, and the camera keeps kind of like panning back and forth around Ving Rhames, and every time it gets like tighter and
Oh,
tighter,
yes.
until it
Yes.
eventually is just Philip Seymour
Yes.
Hoffman using
He-
Tom Cruise's voice.
Yeah, very
that scene
cool.
I thought was really like well done.
'Cause
To
if
show
you're-
how it becomes like
yeah,
And that
because
brought
you're
me back
he's like
in,
pushing the eyes
because that's
in
the
and stuff
one
like that.
thing that's so crucial to these films, and you're like, I need at one point, and I'm glad they did it. You need to be like, we need to see how this works.
Yeah, you could just everybody has a super like accurate face and just looks like people all the time.
Yeah, and then because then you start talking more about the voice, and then so that's when
The voice.
yeah, so he just calls for 30 seconds because they need 30 seconds for like the voice to sync because they make Philip Seymour Hoffman say something under like gun to like get it to match whatever. And so he's just coughing for like 30 seconds to his bodyguard, and the bodyguard starts to come in, and he's like gives him this look like, "Don't fucking come in here like near me." And then the other agent says, "Well, why don't you come back to my room?" And so they drive off in the fancy car, and they stop over a pothole because at this point, Ving Rhames now has the real Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Tom Cruise, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and the agent sneak into the pothole and then blow up the car. So everybody thinks Philip Seymour Hoffman's dead.
Exactly.
So his agents aren't looking for him. Nobody's looking for him. But they would eventually find in the debris that there's nobody there. There's no body. There's no
Explosions don't like disintegrate bodies.
But then we lead to the most intense part of the movie,
Plane scene.
the plane scene.
Can we talk real fast about how much funnier these movies would be if every time they use a face mask they look like Carl Havoc from I Think You Should Leave?
well, that's
My-
that's what like the first ones kind of look like.
My
Like, this is so
only note
uncomfortable.
for this movie was when he first puts on the Philip Seymour hat.
He looks like Carl
That's
Havoc.
what he looks
Yeah, I
like.
know he does. Yeah.
Get this fucking shit off of me.
We did too much.
I'm gonna rip the chin off.
We did too much.
I don't want to be here anymore. Well, we can make that work.
It's too fucking hot.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He's awesome in this
Fucking
movie.
awesome
He's
in
awesome in this movie.
Best
Rest
part of
in,
the first
rest
three
in
movies.
power, man.
Philip Seymour Hoffman has never showed up in a movie, and then that movie has gotten worse because he's in it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, but Philip Seymour Hoffman, like when he's the bad guy, I'm like, I'm not afraid of you. Like he does, like in theory, Philip Seymour Hoffman is not somebody who intimidates me.
Well, he's not like a scary bad guy. He's
But
supposed to be like a rich, powerful bad guy.
He is. That's what I'm saying. Like when he starts to say like, I'm gonna like when the plane scene. Go ahead, RP, if you want to like explain what happens in the plane scene.
So the plane scene basically, he says to Ethan Hunt, like, I'm gonna kill everybody, like your wife or whatever.
Well, before he says that, I thought is when he's trying to get the rabbit hole because then he goes, they're yelling, Ethan, don't do it, Ethan, and then he goes, I'm going to kill everyone you know, Ethan. And it says his name to him. And
Yeah.
that was when I was like, oh, Philip Seymour Hoffman's not fucking around.
Yeah.
This dude is, he's
'Cause they said-
he's got that dog in him.
Yeah. Because then they slip up and they say Ethan's name because Philip Seymour Hoffman doesn't know who he is.
Philip
And-
Seymour Hoffman is him.
He is
He
him.
is
Yeah,
him.
that's what I was going to say that one.
But
But I
it's-
like saying he's got that dog in it.
So I do like that too. So yeah, Ethan Hunt is trying to get the information out of him, and he won't let it go. And Ving Rhames slips up and says his name, but while he's doing like what he's doing to Philip Seymour Hoffman is he's strapped to a chair, and these straps are kind of holding him in. That don't look that secure, but they open like the bay of an airplane that's
flying.
open, that's flying. And he just keeps slowly lowering him until the point where
He's cutting the straps. He's got like 6 straps.
Yeah, and I'm
cuts all
like,
but one of
he's
them.
really trusting that these straps are sturdy.
He's held on by like zip ties, isn't he? He's like cutting zip ties.
But yeah, whatever it is. But like, also, the balls on Philip Seymour Hoffman to just be like, nah, man, I ain't telling you shit.
Yeah, exactly. He's a good villain. Like that's like
Yeah.
because you're like, all right, well, how are they going to get out of this? And then it turns that they get double crossed. And while they're
But
bringing,
you think it's
Lawrence Fishburne,
it's not.
but it's not because Billy Crudup does this weird lip reading scene and lets Ethan. So
Tells Ethan to go to Shanghai.
yeah, so they end up blaming Ethan for working with Philip Seymour Hoffman. There's this awesome bridge scene where there's people fighting, guns, helicopters, all this shit, and Philip Seymour Hoffman gets away and he's going after Ethan's wife. So Ethan starts to look for his wife at the hospital and they can't find her. And then the IMF shows up, takes him into custody, and blames him for the release and doing all because they did
the
this
whole thing off the books.
off the books. So then Billy Crudup gives him like a passcode. It does this like weird lip reading scene that I still don't
Yeah,
understand.
He's just like he's just moving his lips and
Well, they set up in that party
yeah, they
scene that
do.
he can
but
read.
like,
He can
but,
read
but
lips.
like if you're watching the movie, it doesn't even look like
Exactly.
he's saying
Yeah,
any of those
it's
things.
not.
no,
yeah.
it doesn't
It'd be
at all.
one thing if he was like actually just
And they
mouthing
give you
those
the-
words. They have to subtitle.
They give
it.
you a subtitle, but it just doesn't look like it. It's so strange. But he gives him like a key to get out, and so then Ethan breaks out of the IMF, and he's running, and there's not enough high knees. So then now
See, the end is the one where I was like, what the
So
fuck?
now we get to, or where are they at? Shanghai,
Shanghai.
where the film starts off with Ethan's wife.
And that's the interrogation scene that we saw in the beginning. It confused all of us.
Yes, and then Philip Seymour Hoffman shoots
Ethan's wife.
Ethan's wife, but
Shoots her like in the leg or something, right?
no,
he
she's
kills
her in the
her.
head.
But it turns out that it was Philip Seymour Hoffman's
right, right,
security
right,
guard
right,
that
right,
he's
right,
still
right,
mad
yeah.
at for
Another
Letting him,
letting him get captured. But I also think it's letting wine get spilled on him.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's what he's really actually
Posted
mad
bad
about.
It's my
Yeah.
favorite shirt.
Yeah, you shouldn't have let that bitch get close to me.
So it's actually a really great twist, and it turns out that Billy
And then
Crudup
Billy
is
Crudup
working.
comes in.
Honestly, best use of the fake mask reveal in the whole
Yeah.
trilogy.
So then this is where I thought it was awesome, right? But this is where I don't see these films being rewatchable. Like where it's like you said, like it's kind of work for you right now because all that stuff the first time around I was like, oh man, what a twist! That's
Yeah.
like this one had a lot of cool twists. Now the next time I watch this,
It's
I'm
like-
not gonna.
Doesn't
care
the very
about it
first
as
scene
much.
of the movie end with just a gunshot and
Yes.
then a close up on Ethan's face?
Yes.
So you're like,
you
oh,
think,
did he
you
really
think the
shoot
girl's
the
dead?
wife?
And you don't
Like,
even know
what's-
who that lady is that
Yeah.
he's screaming about. And then I didn't like pay close enough attention when they showed her in the beginning for when they were at the engagement party to realize that it was her again. Like that was the girl that he was living with. And then Kerry Russell showed up, and I was like, maybe it was her. And then she dies real quick. I'm like,
Yeah.
it wasn't her.
And I will agree from a rewatch standpoint, yes, but you guys are seeing it for the first time.
Yeah, so first time I'm like interested.
So
in
that's why I also did this because like I want you guys to see these movies because I like them, and it's a lot of these things.
So
It's a franchise that's six
what's
deep.
Billy Crudup's reasoning?
So his reasoning is basically he wants to speed the shit along. So he worked with Philip Seymour Hoffman to get the rabbit's foot to then pin it on another, basically to give them a reason to invade another country.
Yeah,
and
he
to,
says we'll give it to the Middle East and
why
we'll do
does-
what
why
we do.
does- He hates Lawrence Fishburne.
because it's like it's
Oh, he
too
says
many checks.
affirmative action.
Yes, last second racism that
Yeah,
wasn't
that was
necessary.
that too. They
He
threw that
calls
in.
Lawrence Fishburne the affirmative action poster
They
boy.
do, because he. in all his slams at Billy Crudup in that scene. He
calls him like
goes
a rich
in my
kid,
title.
yeah.
Goes, I don't care about what title you got because your daddy plays golf with the president.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but like for no reason
yeah.
whatsoever, in like the hour and 40-minute mark, Billy Crudup decides, you know what? I'm also going to be racist. So,
I just want to give you another reason to hate him.
it's not bad enough that I turn on everybody. I don't like him because he's black.
The driving factor of this movie is racism.
Yeah.
But then they don't talk about it again. It's just real
You
quick
thought
one line.
You thought Philip Seymour Hoffman was a real villain? No, racism.
So basically, it was to give Crudup, whatever his name is,
Kudrow.
Lisa Kudrow.
the Lawrence Fishburne's chair and the speed along a process that just would keep getting delayed, so it basically just sped things along. That was it. I had to rewind the movie because I was like, did I just miss what just happened?
Yeah, that was confusing.
And then it leads to
It's a big showdown.
It's a big
So
showdown
what does the thing do though? I know they gave like a speech.
The rabbit's foot. I still have no
It's
idea.
it's like God's Eye from Fast and Furious.
I think it's what
it's like nuclear
Simon
code.
Pegg talks about in the beginning, like this like physicist professor that he had, where it's like there's going to be this thing that could basically just end the world.
Yeah.
And I think that this is like the threat.
Like God, like it's like some
He calls
tech.
it something that's similar. It's not God's eye, but something. It's God's something.
Yeah, and then so Philip Seymour Hoffman injects Tom Cruise with one of those brain bombs, and there's a pretty cool scene where Tom Cruise basically kills himself, stops his heart.
He kills Philip Seymour Hoffman first, while also having his
I
head
put
exploded.
a brutal fucking death, and I don't remember how he dies.
He gets
Get like a brain aneurysm, basically.
he gets run over by.
Yeah, they go outside
yeah.
and he
Hoffman.
flips.
Yeah.
And pops him up.
That's right.
So
Yes, the truck
hits
comes.
him and
That's
he
right.
Stays under it.
And then so Tom Cruise electrocutes himself to detonate
Because his
kill the
wife
bomb,
is a nurse and can bring him back to
and
life.
can bring him back, and he says, "Trust
Convenient.
me." And he put the sticks there and just electrocutes himself, and then she does bring him back to life like 4
After
minutes
she kills
later.
2 people,
Yeah.
including Billy Crudup.
Yep, kills him.
An incredible aim on this woman who's never held a gun
No,
before.
well, I'm giving because a lot of action movies. I will give this movie credit here. Before he gets to his wife, this is who he calls Simon Pegg. He tells him where his wife is because he's like tracking the phone. That's where you have a minute straight of him sprinting through Shanghai, and that was when I was.
And
like,
everyone's
we
just
don't
looking at
fucking
him
need
like,
this.
oh, look at this
Like,
interesting.
I don't need the full
Man,
run
you're gonna
sequence.
hate 4.
I've seen 4 before. Yeah, don't worry.
Is it
There's-
all just him running?
There's a scene where he's just running from a giant dust cloud.
I can live with that. I think if
It's-
is the dust cloud there? Like, is it
I-
a threat?
Yes.
This was just him getting from point A to point B.
Yeah.
It was like watching the Broad Street run.
He was probably he's probably like the JJ. JJ, I've been working out a lot.
Yeah.
Come on, we gotta do this.
This
We
new
gotta do
Raw
this.
and I want
You
to
wanna see-
try.
you want me
I
see
will
it
give
again?
them credit though because as his like brain is fucking going to explode and he's getting ready to electrocute himself, he teaches her how you like. Here's what you're gonna do. Here's
Yeah.
how you're gonna reload the gun. Here's what you're like.
'Cause-
If somebody shows up, and so point and shoot. She does have good aim, but also she turns the corner and just points and shoots the entire clip.
So he's
And
doing
then does the same thing with the second clip.
not only before he dies, but he like can't basically shouldn't be able to see straight based because he's like
He fights Philip Seymour Hoffman with,
with like his
his
elbow
hands
because
on
he's
his
remember
red.
that,
Yeah. Because like what the thing in his head's doing to him, and then she kills them both, brings them back to life, laughs at the IMF, and that's kind of the end. They go off, and I said, "Great flick, up the ante, save the franchise," and that's Mission Impossible 3.
If this was
That was our best recap, by the way,
100
because this is
because
the
it was the
one
best
we
movie.
liked. Yes.
so,
You didn't have to speed past the end.
No.
if this movie wasn't this movie, I still didn't need 2 hours. But I also like
That's just the
I
standard
ran
now.
out of time.
Yeah.
As far as like I didn't watch it earlier, and I watched this one today, and like had other things I wanted to get done today too. So it was
Yeah.
kind of just like that. I think that's more on me. I did enjoy this movie.
It's really annoying when you like put it off,
Yeah.
and then like you wait too long. And
Homework.
You're like, fuck,
It's
I gotta do this.
Like the first
homework.
half hour of this movie,
Yeah.
I was legitimately had the Aston Villa game on my computer just like muted and had the movie on so I could just keep an eye on
Well,
the score.
like I said, homework. That's why you get these
Yeah.
next ones are good. You're
Yeah.
you're
I'm gonna
into
try
it
to just
now.
do. We have the time. I'm just gonna try to do one
Yeah.
a week. But
And plus, we also have like a month until
yeah.
the next recording.
I watched
so.
the first 2 in like 3 days.
Yeah,
me too.
I watched
And then
them.
it just didn't have time.
Yeah. So
But,
what we
what
think?
I was gonna say is this movie. I'm now excited for 4, 5, and
Good,
6. Like
good.
1 and 2, I was like, what the fuck?
Which I told you guys. I said
Same.
1 and 2. 1 is decent, standard 90s. 2 is tough to get through. 3 is good. 3 is legitimately
3 is good.
Yeah.
And then, aside from the quotes, but
Yeah.
now I know what I'm looking for. And
Yeah.
I'm just writing down fun quotes from here
And
on
then
out.
they
I'm
just,
gonna write down every scene where they reveal a face.
well, they just get progressively, like,
Do they
legitimately.
continue the face thing
Yes.
throughout all the movies?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. It's a mission.
It's the thing.
It's the thing. Yeah.
That's
It's
fine.
like,
I just
It's
wanna
like
make
James
sure that
Bond
they don't get,
having a girlfriend with like a sex innuendo name.
yeah.
Okay.
And they get better and better and better. And the last one, a lot of people regard as one of the best action movies in the last 20 years.
That's the one where he's,
Fallout.
that's the
Fallout,
one where he's
yeah.
hanging from the plane.
Yeah, the movie's legitimately fucking awesome. Like it's a really good action film. I'm not saying it's the best movie of all time. I'm not
looking
saying
forward to
it's. I'm not. I can't even confidently say it is the best of the franchise, which it probably is, because I've only seen it once, and it's such a long
But I
time
will
ago.
say, like, we were with Shane's dad earlier, and I was talking to him. The only problem that I have with all the movies throughout is that, like, I can't get behind Tom Cruise being this, like, action guy.
Yeah.
I know that he does all the stunts, and I know that he is, like, legit, but, like,
You can say what your dad
he's just
said.
We tell my dad what we're talking about. He goes, Tom Cruise, I fucking hate that guy.
He's like anybody that believes that Scientology shit. I don't know how you can believe him.
fucking hate that guy.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for you guys to see 4, 5, and 6. I hope you enjoy them as much as I did. They're just fun action movies. And this is where, when I watched these for the first time, I hated Tom Cruise. Legitimately hated Tom Cruise. Maybe seen 3 movies of him.
I'm not a Tom Cruise fan. but
I am, and I said after these, I was like, I'm not a fan, but he's good in these movies. And then after seeing Top Gun Maverick, I was like, okay, I think I'm a fan because I like
well, that's,
these movies.
I think...
But if you replaced
I-
it with anybody else, I think it would be fine.
Here's what I think about Tom Cruise, and it's like kind of backwards for me to say. I don't like him as the actor, but I will say that he is good at making films.
Yeah.
Because like Top Gun Maverick is like his pet project. These Mission Impossible movies are apparently like his pet projects. So like he knows what he wants to accomplish. I just think that he wants to like appear to be this like
larger than life.
badass,
Yeah.
larger than life guy, and
sure.
I'm like, hey, fuck off.
Yeah.
You're no Xenu.
All right.
You're not the most famous person in the world.
So
You never
Nick,
will be.
we're gonna have to do a mini episode about just the fashion styles at the Mission Impossible 2
yes.
red carpet, because I know you did your research. There's just a lot, and this is what we do when we cover 3 movies at once. It just happens.
Yeah, Nick did his research, but somehow wrote nothing down.
It's all in his brain. All right. So, what did we think, Nick? Closing thoughts on the first 3 films. What did you think? Seeing them for the first time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think?
Kind of go through. So kind of read it. First one kind of hooked me. Second one, I didn't know what we were going to. And then third, I'm kind of locked in to watch the other ones.
And you'll
Go
watch.
down, yeah.
You might not be joining us for 4, 5, and 6, but you're locked in and ready to listen, right?
Yeah, similar to Vin Rames.
Yeah, there you go. He called your shot. You're Vin Rames. Bob.
I said before, the first one was entertaining enough. Didn't need a franchise. Like, didn't need to continue to exist. If you hadn't told me how bad the second one was, I probably would have said, "Fuck off! I'm not watching." This. Like, if I were just watching these on my own and watched 2, I would have been like, "I'm not watching 3. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need any more of these." But I had that warning, so I was like, "All right, I'll just
Power
through
Yeah.
this one."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 3, like I said, genuinely good.
Mm-hmm.
The cast, and I know that like now it's like Simon Pegg sticks around, which is cool. Ving Rhames comes back at some point, and then Philip Seymour Hoffman is legit. Are there like famous actors as the villains going forward, or is this like back and forth?
No, because the guy, I think the villain for 5 or for 6 is somebody I don't know.
Okay,
But Henry
the first
Cavill's
two
in
was, like, really-
Cavill's in
is
6.
he the main bad
No,
guy? That's what
no.
I'm saying. He's like a henchman, isn't he?
Yeah, and Jeremy Renner is in 4.
Jeremy Renner's in 4 because I looked that up.
He's
earlier.
not a bad guy though.
Yeah, I saw that he was in it though.
Yeah,
Use a bow and arrow?
No.
I'm not watching.
He rides a tractor.
He does. Tractor plow.
Hopefully he stays on the track.
What'd you think, Shane?
One, snooze fest, except for the end train scene. I love that.
Yeah, it was cool.
2, greatest reintroduction to a character of all time. But stinker of a movie.
Greatest reintroduction to a band, Biscuit of all time.
Stop plugging your band.
3, genuinely enjoyed. Never seen a movie with Philip Seymour Hoffman that I didn't like.
Good. And yeah,
Excited for 4, 5, and 6.
I would say that to reiterate kind of Bob's comments, if I didn't watch these during the height of the
you had nothing else to do.
Yeah, during the height of the pandemic, I probably would have made it through 2 or watched 3 at all. So
if you didn't give us
here.
the warning that 1 and 2 were bad and 3 picks up, it would have been such a chore to get through 1 and 2.
I had to.
Because I would have been like,
It was still a chore, but
these
at
movies,
least I knew.
I would have been like, these movies suck. 3's going to also suck.
Yeah.
Why is RP making us watch these movies?
We could have watched Back to the Future.
But that's the way I felt. If it wasn't for that, I don't know. But I'm glad I did power through them, and I'm rewatching them, and I genuinely really enjoyed the franchise, and I'm looking forward to the new ones.
It's wild to me that you watched 1 and 2, and you were like, I'm gonna watch 4 more of these movies.
Well, I had heard how great, because I'm an LCB fan, Lights Camera Barstool, and they fucking jerk off Fallout. Like they love Mission Impossible Fallout. And I was like, and a bunch of other people that I know do too. And it's got great. 5's got great reviews. 6 has got great
Which
reviews.
one's Fallout?
6.
6. Okay.
You must have really had a lot of time on your hands to like watch
Which
these 2
one's
movies and be
Ghost
like,
Protocol?
yeah,
5.
that's
the
5, I
next one,
think,
isn't it?
right?
Because
I think it's 4.
It's 4.
It's
No, I'm saying I think Mission Impossible 4 is just.
it's Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout.
All right, so it is
okay.
4.
So
But the
it's
other
4
ones
or
don't have titles,
5.
right?
No, so that's why it's like this is because
No,
it kind
it's
of
1, 2, and 3.
And then it's
because it's like this
everything
is a
else.
soft reboot, and then 3's like a soft reboot, but also end like it's done. Like you know, like it could have ended it nicely.
to be.
And then they went with the titles, yeah. But I feel like some of these movies were like Mission Impossible 4 stinks compared to like you got to give it a title. So, but that's what we thought. I hope you guys liked it.
Do they all follow? Like, is there a Ghost Protocol?
The bad guy's a ghost.
Okay, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, is it like Scooby Doo?
Yeah.
The third one or the fourth one?
Well, that's what the face mask, the rip off at the end is like the
And
bad
then-
guy. But hey,
then-
well, we gotta save that. We
Mission
gotta
Impossible
They get more and
5.
more cartoonish.
Mission Impossible 5. There's a nation that goes rogue.
we gotta save this for the next pod. We
This-
gotta save this for the next pod.
The scene where the French guy
He doesn't-
in the-
he
in the
doesn't-
stand- where
he's
he's
not
got the-
important. He's not important.
with the rat crawling on him, pretty cartoonish.
All right, I don't.
It's like a Tom and Jerry scene.
Yeah, but
Sounds good.
We talked about that movie 2 hours ago.
Yeah, we're done. We're done. I gotta wrap this
The
up.
French don't matter.
The French don't matter. All right. Remember to rate, like, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out Mission Impossible 1, 2, and 3. If you have Paramount, they're on Paramount and Showtime. Check them out. Leave us a rating, and we'll be back next month for 4, 5, and 6. Then probably taking a break and covering Indiana Jones 5, and then back to Mission Impossible in August. If not, we have lives. I'm sorry. Whatever.
Plug
But
the
enjoy
merch-
these movies.
Plug the merch one more time.
Merch, Redbubble, T Public. Check it out. Buy what you gotta buy.
We got Snickers bars, baby.
Baby, stickers, bars, stickers, bars. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye bye. Thanks for joining us, Nick.